Oh, hey, bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Friday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, the show we basically go and talk about all the things going on in celebrity news and hot topics. So this is the show for you. Definitely stick around. And also be sure, if you can, to hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Okay, so we got a couple of topics we're going to get into today. We're going to talk a bit about Cynthia Erivo and those storm rumors in the new X-Men reboot. We're going to talk a little bit about the Brave and the Bold. Apparently, is there, the question is there trouble in paradise over there at the DCU? Because Andy Muschietti is putting out stuff regarding this Brave and the Bold movie, and it seems to be like conflicting reports between him and James Gunn, so we're going to get into that. Plus, Billboard just crowned Drake and Nicki Minaj as the biggest male and female rappers of the 21st century. We can debate in the comments whether or not if y'all agree or disagree. I'm going to weigh in on it. Plus, this documentary that's coming out next week on Peacock is spilling some tea about Diddy and saying that maybe he got, all the lessons that he learned about them freakos and things, he may have learned it from his mama, Janice Combs, which I would say, duh. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Bethenny Frankel is spilling some tea about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. She said she was at the It Ends With Us premiere and kind of noticed that there was a little something, a disarray long before it made the public. And she was saying that she didn't want to get canceled, all this other stuff. We actually have the TikTok video. We'll play it in full so that way you get it and you hear from the horse's mouth instead of me sitting there having to read it. And speaking of messes, we're going to get more into this whole Allison Holker tWitch drama because apparently some members of, alums from So You Think You Can Dance, as well as tWitch's mother, has come out and spoken against this book that Allison has coming out. And speaking of books, Brooke Shields is spilling some tea about a doctor who did some surgery on her without her consent on a certain part of her body. She asked him to put his surgical situation on. And so we're going to talk about that. Plus, we did talk a little bit about in the last show about Brandy and her book that's just coming out with, Memoir. I'm going to do a full story on it. I just did last week, we did it in passing. I'm going to do it a full story. Plus, Jamie Lee Curtis, child. See, this you should have just kept in the vault. You should have kept this part in the chamber. She apparently is comparing the fires in LA to the destruction of Gaza. I already told you I didn't want to get political on the show, but we're going to get political today, especially with that topic. And Travis Kelce's ex, Kayla, I did not know she was on a reality show, but apparently she is, and she's spilling tea about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and that whole relationship and her getting a lot of pushback from the Swifties and how she's being trolled by them. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, some TMI news, something we didn't need to know. Apparently, Andy Cohen is out in these streets with a goddamn sex tape. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, RuPaul is currently over in the UK for DragCon and actually made his first public statement since the passing of the Vivian. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, whatever else is popping off in the whole social media stratosphere, y'all know what to do. Slide it up in the comments and we'll kiki as the show progresses. Okay, let me hit my banner. I see we have some comments. It's snowing where you're at? Well, I did hear a lot of people are snowed in. I forget who said, I think Cody Lee, shout out to him, another YouTuber, said that he had no power for the past couple of days. I think it was because of a snowstorm. And there was somebody else that I know that's been sick. Oh, a friend of mine is sick. I mean, not sick. He was snowed in. And he said, while I'm snowed in, I don't want to watch a horror movie. So he said, I'm going to watch Terrifier 3. I said, child, you don't know what you in for. And then record himself. He was like, guess what scene I'm watching? And he was like, how they put that in the movie? And I already knew what scene it was. It was the scene between Miss Mamas and that glass, and that what she was doing with that glass as, Art the Clown was doing what he was doing to one of them, the guys who were supposed to blow up the building that they were staying in. Y'all know the scene. I was like, I don't know how they put that in that damn movie, but look, the movie was unrated. So that's how they was able to get away with the stuff they were able to get away with in that scene. So Onyx says, happy snow day to all in the Midwest, East Coast. My dream casting of Dominique Jackson as Storm will unfortunately probably never happen. You want to know something? When we get into that story, she was another choice of mine too, because there was a lot of people that was pretty much saying they would love to see Dominique Jackson as Storm. So I would definitely like to see that, but I don't think that's happening. They would probably rather go with a queer woman like Cynthia Erivo than a trans woman like Dominique Jackson. Justin Trudeau threw massive shade at Trump on CNN, saying the best thing about being Canadian is we're not Americans. Well, at this point, I guess anything is better than being American, because the way these people running around here trying to act like we're like these horrible wet red, white, and blue colors, and walking around with flag pants on, and this whole faux patriotism and all this other stuff, it's just a cat. I'm like, this is not how Americans are supposed to behave, and this is what colonizing white folks do when they don't have any kind of sense of what is y'all lineage, like what have y'all actually brought to the table as Americans for us to even be celebrating y'all just look like a bunch of damn clowns whenever I be saying y'all out, not only at like in TV and stuff, but like sometimes when I'm at my job and there's certain shows or things that we have there that kind of feels very much what Trump panders to his base, that sort of thing. Like recently when I just did this bullfighting thing, I was like, it smells like a bunch of damn Trump supporters are here. Not saying that the people stunk, but it was just the overall energy, the aura. When you look at the not maybe some wrestling, because Trump has taken a lot from what, that whole wrestling bravado and incorporated it into the way he does politics now. He does bring a sense of a reality TV, reality competition, wrestler, UFC. He brings that kind of energy to what he does in politics, which has kind of changed the way we do politics now. And I also think when you look at the UFC and Dana White and his influence and all that other stuff in our politics, and also him buddying with Trump, because Trump was the one that gave him an opportunity when people wasn't really checking for UFC and UFC couldn't get into places like Madison Square Garden or other stuff. Trump was allowing the UFC to do their stuff in his casinos. So there's a loyalty there with that, because he gave him a chance when Trump gave him a chance, but I guess when nobody else would. But I'm not surprised that Justin Trudeau would say the same thing. I keep forgetting. I need to watch this video that Sabby Sabs did on the whole Justin Trudeau situation. So that way I can understand the whole, because I haven't really been able to pay attention to a lot of what's been going on regarding him stepping down as, the prime minister and all that other stuff. I saw Andrew Tate was trying to run for prime minister in the UK. I'm like, child, anybody vote for your ass? You trying to do all of that because you saw what happened with Trump in America. Now all of a sudden you get all these people that are Trump-like, particularly Andrew Tate, who even admitted on camera that he's been sex trafficking and all this other stuff. Like, he admitted literally on video on how he does his business, the money laundering, the trafficking of women and all that other stuff. But then he was doing some video where he was trying to talk about how he was going to run and wasn't given no kind of policy situation. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to be talking about? Like, if you're running for president or any kind of political office, we should at least know what it is that you're running on that is opposite of what's currently happening in the country that you're not happy with. But you're just saying a whole bunch of nothing and thinking just because people know your name, that automatically I'm gonna just blindly vote for you. Timothy Chalamet is doing double duty on. Oh, is he? I'm hoping that Kylie Jenner won't be there, but she probably will. It looks like TikTok is going to be banned. Supreme Court is leaning towards the ban. Well, if it happens, oh well. Look, I don't make money off of TikTok. I can't even figure out how to monetize and all other stuff. Well, look, there's other avenues. I guess now YouTube is going to become even bigger. Although I'm glad I've been sticking with YouTube, because YouTube in the past week, and I have to say, I sincerely, sidebar, thank all the new subscribers, all the people that have come in and like the show, and those who actually watch the live and just be watching. I mean, when you feel comfortable enough to jump up in the chat, we don't bite over here. We friendly. So if you want to throw in a comment, comment whatever, even a super chat, because I don't like begging, but it does help that this is an independently produced show. I do everything up on here by myself. But I appreciate every single person that is coming here and is like a new subscriber and supporter of the show. I know a lot of them have come from, I think, the Blake Lively stuff that I've been doing, but mostly the Drag Race stuff, because I can't tell you the amount of comments I was getting in the likes on people who said that they just discovered the channel because I was going in on Tyra Sanchez and the whole RuPaul situation. So I already know the biggest numbers I always get is when I talk about white porn stars. Shout out to the white folks. Whenever I talked about Timothy Champagne, that's my biggest one. That got 30K. And not that I want to sit over here and brag about numbers, but I know what y'all like. Y'all like the porn because y'all nasty. Look, I watch it too. So if I'm reading y'all, I'm reading myself. And y'all like drag queens and all the homosexual stuff. So that's why I'm giving y'all the angle that all the other channels ain't giving y'all. And just me being myself. So I appreciate all the people that have finally come in and all that other stuff. But that's why I've been pushing out content on YouTube. I even had a conversation with Nico over at Nico Aesthetics because he was talking about how he puts out 3 videos a week. He'll put out 2 regular videos and then he'll put a video on his Patreon. And they was like, why are you only doing that? Even I said that. I'm like, really? Like, you need to be pumping out more content than that. And he's got a lot more followers than me, and that's fine. I'm building this on, I've been building this channel for the ground up, and he's been around doing it probably far longer than me because I didn't really start getting seriously into putting out YouTube content until like about 3 years ago. So I've just been consistent. But with that, it's like y'all know, I give y'all 4 shows a week. Sometimes I'll push for 5 if I'm not too busy or if I can find the time. And then I'll cut up I'll do like smaller clips and I put it up. So you have to constantly pump out content. And that's what I was saying to him too. It's like, everything doesn't, and then he's talking about all the music and the bells and the whistle. I'm like, no shade. And this is a secret that I think people need to realize. Majority of people, when they watch these shows, they don't care about all that. They don't care about the extra bells and whistles. They don't care about flying photos across the screen and all that other extra. No, they just want a real authentic personality that could just give it to you straight and to the point. That's what I always realized that was my strength. And then I just give y'all for extra effect. I'll give you the pictures. I'll give you like all this stuff. But the personality is what sells the situation. So I was like, what works for you is not going to work for me necessarily and other people. But if you want to do the extra music and spending, I don't have the time nor the energy to be spending 3-4 hours editing stuff. But this is why I do a live stream because I feel like that's enough. And then I give y'all I interact. I give y'all, I'll put in your questions and comments. I'll bring in pictures. I'll do all this stuff, bring in video clips, all that. I feel like just keep it straight to the point because most people don't care about all the extra bells and whistles. And I learned that because when I was doing my other show with a producer and we were doing all of that, I wasn't getting as much views. I wasn't getting as much attention. People don't care about all that. So so as I say, the KISS effect, keep it simple, stupid. So if they ban TikTok, oh well, something else will pop up. I don't know what Gen Z is gonna do. I heard Lemonade is a knockoff of TikTok. I've never heard of Lemonade. What is that? Only lemonade I know is the one you drink and the Beyonce album. They said, I'm just glad I got the tea on why Zuckerberg undid the fact checkers. We already know why he did it. It's because Trump threatened him. Trump even admitted recently because an interviewer just asked him, he was like, the threat of prison or other stuff, did that have anything to do with why Mark Zuckerberg has taken away the fact checking thing? He said probably. He openly admitted this in an interview I just saw. And I'm sitting there like, see, he's out here running around like he's Don fucking Corleone, throwing out threats. And you got these on the spectrum as billionaires who are running around spooked and nervous and going down to Mar-a-Lago and bending the knee. That's basically what a lot of them are doing. So I'm not surprised that why he undid the fact checkers thing. It's, the stuff about, I'm sure there's probably some truth in, him with the, what was it, that the conversation that we had that, about some stuff about an injury because he does MMA and nobody cared. We don't care about what CEOs and stuff are doing in their spare time because they have so much money they're bored. I don't give a good goddamn about, Mark Zuckerberg. doing UFC shit. I don't watch that for him. I mean, I am a UFC fan. I was a UFC fan before I even knew the grifting and all this other stuff that Dana White was doing. Like, I've always been an avid supporter of like the UFC. But then when I started to learn all this other stuff about Dana White and the propaganda and the agenda that he was pushing, and the attachment with MAGA, now I'm just like, I kind of distance myself from that. Before I was a hardcore UFC fan. But I even did the UFC stuff. Like, I used to work out at a UFC gym. I was in the best shape of my life doing that. But that's all I don't know. And also, the younger generation don't give a good goddamn about no damn Facebook. They're not on Facebook. Boomers and us, us Gen Zers, and I mean not Gen Z. I ain't no damn Gen Z. Millennials and all this stuff. We're the ones that are on, Facebook, because we come from the era of like MySpace and then Facebook and LinkedIn and all those other stuff. Black Planet, remember that? Hey, Jovan from España said, I hope he goes back to prison. Well, his ass need to. And it said, now we can say Trump is a convicted felon. Well, we already knew that he was a convicted felon. It's just funny how they had to put this out here like we didn't already know it. And like, we know he's a convicted felon. His last thing to be, it would have been a cackle if they had him as like he was doing, he was the president, but he was doing it from prison. I said, Joe said, it's because you are the business. Okay. Sometimes I don't be trying to act like I'm in this industry. I just be saying my stuff and I go about my business. But then it's like, yeah, Chris, you are media. But sometimes I don't put myself in that headspace because I don't want to get too big for my britches. But it's like, yeah. The first video I watched from you was this is when the All Stars non-cast is going to be. Oh, well, thanks. Well, thank you for reminding me, because you know what? Sometimes when I need y'all to remind me about stuff, because sometimes when people be like, well, when did y'all become friends? I never can remember like when I become friends with somebody. It's just it naturally progresses into that. And then I'm like, okay, we just friends. So I don't be remembering like the exact day and date. Like I don't be focusing on all of that. But it's like you said what I was saying. I was like, whenever I do my drag race stuff, whenever I do, the homosexual relation stuff of the rhymes with corn kind, that's when the numbers go up. That's why I was laughing when I was watching Nico's video where he was going in on everybody that was trying to come from a lot of you black content creators, the porn ones. And he was like, y'all be acting like that y'all numbers be the ones that make him the most money. Because when he started rattling off, he said, my Timothy Champagne video, when that blew up, that was making me, I said, facts, because it happened here too. When I did my 2 Timothy Champagne videos and I was doing my Austin Wolf videos, those are the ones that blew up. So no shade. I love my people. However, black porn content creators, y'all are not the ones out here that's bringing in the numbers. The white content creator, the white adult performer content are the ones that get the bigger numbers. And that's no shade. I'm just saying. So y'all can sit up here and try to act like, y'all the Vin Diesel of the porn industry, but y'all not. Or the Denzel Washington. It's like, no. I did watch the Janet video. And when I was sitting there watching, I'm like, child, you ain't saying nothing I ain't been saying for years. Now, all of a sudden, y'all want to wake up and try to act like Janet ain't been giving y'all the same goddamn show for the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years. Like, she been basically giving y'all the same version of the same damn tour. And now y'all decide to wake up because she been doing the same, because she been giving y'all the same thing. And now that she back in Vegas, all of a sudden, everybody, the rose-colored glasses came off. They've been unplugged from the Matrix. I guess they got the anvil hit up on side their head. And now people waking up to my Janet giving the same show. She not ever evolving. Where the fuck y'all been? I've been saying this for the longest, but when you say stuff and you observe things long before the public come around to it, all of a sudden, you're a hater, you're this or that. It's like, no, I'm right, and you know it. You just don't want to admit it. But I'm gonna give you time to come around and take the fog from your eyes and see what I've been seeing. Because I'll tell you, I be seeing shit before everybody else do. That's why I be calling myself the Oracle sometimes, because I just be feeling like these things that pop up in my head is just, I'm well-versed in paying attention and noticing things. But nobody wants to listen, and that's fine. But sometimes You know, when y'all decide to come around, I don't want to be the one to say, I told you so, but you know, dot, dot, dot. So that video, when I saw from that Janet fan, and I've seen videos of his in the past. I can't remember his name at the top of my head, but I've seen videos of his in the past. So I know he's a real Janet fan. And I like Janet too, but I'm not gonna sit up here, and that's why it pissed me over. Somebody tried to go up in here and say in a video that Madonna basically just does the same show. I said, on what planet? In what multiverse? Because all the Madonna concerts I've watched, she do not give you the same damn show. That's a lie. Even if I went to Maury and did the damn what they call them, DNA, whatever test, he will go and tell you that shit is a lie. So I don't know where y'all coming from with that information of saying Madonna gets the same show, because I have seen all of Madonna shows and she do not repeat herself. She'll even tell you she don't like repeating herself. She's so damn stubborn, she don't even like going back. I'm sure it was a lot for her to do the celebration tour because it was a way of her looking back on her career. But at least when she looked back on her career, she didn't give you the same show. She gave you a remix of sorts on the costumes, the songs, even the choreography. When she would do like those iconic moves from the past, choreography with songs like Everybody and stuff, like she would give you a different interpretation because she gets bored quickly. She ain't gonna give you, you already know, like when Janet Jackson do Pleasure Principle or the choreography from If or whatever, you already know what you're gonna get with a lot of that stuff. I don't like going to a concert and it being predictable. I don't want to walk into a show and be like, okay, so I already know coming up in here, yeah, it's great to see her. But once you get past the whole, yeah, Janice on stage, she look good, da 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 da, then it's like, okay, now what? Now I'm gonna be sitting up in here just watching you do the same show you've been giving me for the past 10 years. No, I'm not spending my money on that. And there's no shade. I want to be wowed. I want to be entertained. I want something different. I want to go on a journey. I want to be given something that I haven't experienced before. Is that too much to ask, especially when as expensive as these damn tickets out here in these streets are? Thank God I work at the Garden, because that me working there, it saves me a whole lot of money being able to experience these shows versus sitting up in the audience and having to pay all this money. It's like, no, I get paid to watch a lot of these shows. So why would I even spend any kind of money on all these artists? And that's anybody. Although I did spend money on the Madonna concert. And I started working at the Garden around the time when she did her show at the Garden. So it's on It Girl. I like the video. I actually watched it before I came live because I was like, I had it saved. And I almost forgot that they released the video. I was like, let me sit and actually watch this video because I know somebody gonna ask. I knew he was gonna ask me about it. So that's why I was like, let me get over here and watch this damn thing. I like the video. I feel like the song is missing a little something. I get the whole electro pop situation and I like the song. It just feels like it's missing a little extra something. But I like the song. I like the video. I can't put a stamp on yet what it is that the song is missing. I probably need to listen to it a couple of more times, but for the most part, I feel like the song is missing something. I like it. I like it so far, and I'm looking forward to it when Jade released that new album, that debut solo album. I definitely will be listening to it because I'm a fan of Little Mix, and I'm a fan of Jade. So I've been posting my remixes on YouTube the last couple of years. They get more listens here than on SoundCloud. And it's funny how SoundCloud, because I have a SoundCloud account too, they be wanting you to pay and all that. I'm like, I'm not doing all that. Look, YouTube is your best bet. Fuck SoundCloud. And it's funny, like, yeah, your stuff will get a lot more attention on YouTube than anything. And I've noticed that, yeah, the more you pump things out, the more attention your channel will get, and the more that it blows up, and the algorithms will put your stuff out. Which I noticed because while the rest of y'all was taking a vacation, something in my head said, "What's that? I don't know what a vacation is. I need to learn to take one." But I am my father's son. He was somebody else who did not take a lot of vacations, except for like in the summer times. He would always take a week out of each month. So he would take like a week in June, I think a week in July and 2 weeks in August, because that was my father's birthday is in August. So he would always take like 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna probably start doing that when I get big enough and I make enough money where I could afford to do that. But for the most part, when it comes down to the whole situation, I want to get to a place where it's like I can afford to take vacations and stuff. So then I'll be able to get, I'll be able to do all of that. So they do take a lot of stuff down. I didn't even know that because I don't really be messing with SoundCloud like that. I have it, but I haven't been on it in years. We'll move back to IG Reels, a TikTok. won't really affect the average Zoomer who is an influencer or makes money off the app. We could use some time away from our TikTok addiction. And something else will pop up. But I think I like TikTok. The one thing I liked about TikTok is the fact that I have a big audience over there regarding TikTok. But now I think because of YouTube lately, my following is a lot more on YouTube now than it was on TikTok. So now it's kind of reversed. So, and there is a lot of back and forth commentary. But I hope like all those people that was over there on TikTok, I hope before this damn ban, y'all follow me over on the YouTube. Because once that's going, Javon says, watch the first 2 years of UFC when it was local in Denver. It was messy. Was it like a lot of blood? It was probably even more brutal. But now you know that they're corporate. They can't be as brutal. SoundCloud is more strict about remixes using STEM. So I just put it on my YouTube channel. It's easier. I just saw a few of my friends from high school with Facebook accounts, but I don't care enough to start using it. Snap, IG, and TikTok are the 3 apps every Zoomer has. That's what I was going to say. Do people still use Snap? I mean, I have a Snapchat, but I barely use it. But yeah, Instagram and TikTok. I mean, I've been posting a lot of the funny enough, look, I post my reels everywhere. So if TikTok goes away, I'll be sad a little bit, but I'll be like, whatever. I post all my clips and stuff. I don't just post it on my YouTube. I post it on YouTube. I post it on TikTok. I post it on Instagram and Facebook. But because it's Instagram automatically uploads it to Facebook because it's Meta. So that's what I do. You said, I remember when you did the LGBT and had a cute guy and another co-host. Oh yeah, that was oh, you talking about Remy? That's funny how I automatically knew you was like, yeah, Remy's a cutie. But that was when I was doing Drinks and Drag. But yes, once upon a time, not long ago, before I was doing this show, I had a show called Drinks and Drag, which was kind of supposed to be like the homosexual version of The View. So it was me, Remy, and my friend Lindsay Aguilera, who's a drag queen. And I was like, I wanted to do something different. So it was like, we had like me, who was the messy one, Remy was the cute and quiet one, and then you had Lindsay, who was the sensible one. And we just gave our different opinions and stuff on celebrity news and hot topics. And that show worked for a while, but then it stopped. But I remember they were also doing Birds of a Feather, O'Shea together and stuff. And I know they was all doing their own thing, but I don't even think they're really putting out content the way they used to. So I kept going, but I don't know what they're doing. But I did speak to Lindsay. What was it? On New Year's. That was the last time we had a conversation. Yeah. So it was like 22, it's almost 3 years. That's why I feel like, okay, they always say around that 3-year mark is when you start to see the shift and things starting to blow up. So I really feel it in my gut that 2025 is going to be that year. I was like, who's texting me? Okay, let me get off my phone because I like to focus on the show. Speaking of which, we didn't even get into our topics yet, and it's almost 30 minutes into the show because it's like we just started a whole damn Q&A, which is cute or whatever. I was thinking we should start that at the end, but I realized there'd be so much stuff that comes in throughout the show. It'd be impossible to do that at the end. I saw that Janet review on Instagram and shared it in the Rebel Hearts chat the other night. Was that the same one that Robert sent, or was it something else? Or is it somebody else who said the same thing, basically? I've been revisiting the Drowned World Tour while the set list is the same except New York, where you'll see has replaced Gone, but each ad-lib speeches in her city call outs and moments. I actually like the Drowned World Tour. Spontaneous is different, and I love it. Each city is treated very differently, which makes it special. And yeah, you don't want to always come across robotic and rehearse with the same speech. She was doing that in she was doing that on the Celebration tour too, where she would basically the speeches would change up a little bit. Yeah, she would tell kind of like the similar stories or whatever the case was, but she would always switch it up. Because it's like you want to be spontaneous. Like me, if I was ever doing a show, whatever, I don't want to sit up there and give you all the same speech, especially with social media recording every damn thing. Everybody gonna be like, this is disingenuous. You just giving a scripted, blah, 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 blah. And I'm gonna be irritated. It's like, whatever. I love Janet too, but she has been doing the same show since the All For You tour. I went to see her when she came here to say I saw her live. Oh, so you went to see her just to say you got the experience seeing her live. And I feel like a lot of people would do that. Like I hope in my lifetime, I've never had the opportunity to see Janet live yet. If the opportunity presents itself and she comes to the Garden to do a show, she's been doing the Barclays as of late. But the next time she decides to do an arena tour and she does happen to come to the Garden and she does multiple nights, I would like to experience seeing her show and being in that moment and seeing what it's like. Nobody's discounting the fact that, yeah, she puts on a phenomenal show. She's an amazing performer. She is an icon. She is a legend. She is the moment. Shout out to Wendy. How you doing? But and there's to say that you actually got to experience Janet live. Just like I can die and say I've had the opportunity to see Madonna perform live. I've seen the opportunity to see Kylie in concert. Like when you could just say certain icons that you had the pleasure and the privilege to see perform live, and you can go to your grave with that. That's everything. But yeah, change it up, Miss Mamas. I'm not, and then I saw people in the comments making excuses. It was like, but she's a legacy act. I'm like, you know how many damn legacy acts out here is doing shows and I give you the same damn thing? They had the nerve to compare her to Cyndi Lauper, and I'm sure the many of shows that Cyndi Lauper has done, she's not giving you the same show. So it's a weak argument. Just admit that yes, Janet needs she needs a rejuvenation. And we're not talking about, okay, now that she's sewing skin, which she wasn't doing in the previous shows. And yeah, the costumes is cuter and much different, but people just want something different. Challenge yourself is what and challenge your audience. Who says, oh, I think I read that already. Who said the Drown World Tour was her most scripted show because she did say the same things in a lot of the shows. I actually like that show. I mean, I like that tour. I don't even care too much for Madonna, but her concerts are fucking untouchable. Ain't no one, I mean, no one on her level. Janet used to give amazing. See, even Joe Boss said he was like, she used to give good shows. Okay, someone said to watch the European leg of the Drowned World Tour. The first outfit is more steampunk and the vibe is more outrageous, where the US leg was subdued. I wish she would have seen this. And you know what? This is why I get annoyed, because I feel like Europeans are way more open-minded when you could be more provocative and you could be more sexual with your stuff. But in America, it's like you got to tone yourself down. I'm like, oh, that's not what we want. We like when Madonna's provocative, if it's within the confines of the show. I'm not saying that you got to be in your damn near 70s showing your titties on Instagram. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want to see the energy, the fun, all the stuff that you put in your show. I want it, what you giving them Europeans who are more accepting of it. I want to see that in a show too, because I feel like in my mind, I kind of have a European sensibility when it comes to, especially when it comes to sex and all the other stuff. Like my brain is very European, and it could be because I'm from a European, my ancestors or whatever. Like especially when I got Joe Vaughn up in the conversation. Like my great grandfather was from Spain and that sort of thing. So when you have kind of like that European sensibility, it's like that's that DNA trickling down, which is why I think I'm way more open minded when it comes to that stuff than a lot of people. Gen Z is coming to YouTube. That might hurt the conservative bubble that is YouTube. Is YouTube really conservative though? I mean, they can come to YouTube and try to think that they could run it the way that they was over there on TikTok. Good luck. Yes, they use Snap, young teens. Oh, okay. Because once upon a time I used Snapchat, but then I was like, okay, this is boring. I just moved on. So I was like, yeah, I have Snap. Jovan says, I know that he's drama, but go see the full Todrick Hall show. I saw him here in Madrid, and he was on the same level as MJ Janet at their prime. His concert only cost €20 here, too. And the funny thing is, we've had this conversation where you was talking about Todrick Hall, that I remember I think the last time we hung out, when you came to New York with your husband, we were sitting up there having a conversation, and you was talking about like, yeah, like Todrick was one of like the best shows that you've seen in a long time, and he's on Michael Jackson level. And we're not discounting his talent. We know that Todrick could dance and perform down. It's just some of the problematic things he's done pretty much has hurt his, has overshadowed all the other stuff that he's doing. So I mean, I've seen Todrick shows and I've seen him perform, and yeah, he definitely gives a good show. So I'm not gonna hate on him about that, but you know how the gays are. Bette Midler and Celine gave good shows. I hope the singing was live. For who? You talking about Celine? Now you know Celine singing. I wish Bette had done the Mae West biopic. Can you imagine them doing a Mae West biopic these days? What did you miss? Nothing, because I didn't even get to topic number 1 yet. Like, we've been literally in here 34 minutes into the show, and I've been bombarded. And this is not me being shady. I'm just saying. I've just been, it's just been a lot of conversation. And so I don't even know how this shit started. It just all of a sudden, we just been in here having a conversation, and I didn't even get to the topics yet. So I already know I'm going to have to put in timestamps, which I will, because I had somebody literally in the comments the other day gag me. I was like, oh, they were like, timestamps, please. And they put a heart. I was like, oh yeah, because I forgot. I was supposed to, and I didn't do it in the previous two shows. And so then she was like, timestamps, please. I was like, oh, well, you gagged me. But yes, I put them in the last episode. The previous two, before that, I didn't. But in the recent episode, I did put timestamps in. And when I can get around to it today, probably probably when I'm watching Drag Race, but no, I'm not going to do that. Like when I'm watching Drag Race, I have to give that show my full attention. So later on, when I have the time, I'll put in the timestamps. I would like to see a Mae West biopic, but do you think the people would know who she is? They would probably put that on streaming or something, because you can't do a theatrical release of Mae West. People would be like, who? A lot of this new generation. But a lot of people have emulated Mae West. You had Janet Jackson as a kid did it. Madonna has done it, and Nicole Smith. There's been many people that have done, have emulated Mae West on stage, and in some of the stuff that they do. Kim Kardashian too. Okay, so without further ado, since we're 36 minutes into the show, let's get to our first topic. And let's talk about this rumor that's floating around that Cynthia Erivo wants to play Storm. Well, actually, this has been floating around, and she actually addressed it. So I can't say it's necessarily a rumor. No one's been cast for for the new X-Men. I don't even know when X-Men is coming, but I do know that Kevin Feige, his favorite comic is X-Men. So we already know he's going to put his all into the X-Men reboot whenever they get around to it, or who knows when they're going to come. Yeah, who knows when they're going to come into the fold. But Cynthia Erivo has expressed her desire. I don't know why my pictures are blurring. Now it's fixed. Has expressed her desire to want to be in the X-Men. So now, shout out to Comic Book for this story. It says, in the wake of Wicked becoming a box office smash hit, many have been speculating about what Erivo might look to do next. Now, Marvel fans specifically have been attaching Erivo to the MCU and have been fan casting her in droves to play Storm in a potential X-Men movie. Now, Erivo herself has come out and has said that Storm is a part of who she also wants. Now, speaking to the National Board of Review, Erivo was asked to manifest a character that she'd like to play in the future. Now, Erivo said that Storm is the next character she would like to portray, presumably in the MCU. She went on to talk about the depth of that she believes Storm has as a character, which is a large part of what attracts her to the role. She said, I really want to play Storm. I know it sounds frivolous, but I don't think we've uncovered how grand she is and all the inner turmoil that she has. So I think there's a world in which we could do something with that. Now, if Erivo does have any chance of playing Storm in the MCU, she has chosen a good time to make her desire known. Now, across TV shows and films like Ms. Marvel, Deadpool and Wolverine, and X-Men 97, Marvel has been laying the groundwork for how it might eventually fold mutants and the X-Men into the MCU. While Marvel Studio boss Kevin Feige hasn't outright confirmed that an X-Men movie is in the works, it's presumed that mutants will become a larger focus of the MCU following the release of Avengers Secret Wars in 2027. To that end, Erivo could stand a good chance of playing Storm, as casting for the various members of the X-Men will likely be a larger priority in the years ahead. Now, in the near future, Erivo is known for reprising her role as Elphaba Throp in Wicked for Good, which is due out in November 2025. And funny thing was, to get to the Wicked thing before we get to the X-Men stuff, director John Chu was clowned for naming it Wicked for Good because apparently a lot of people don't like the title. And he was like, "What you want me to call it? Wicked Part 2?" I was like, some people will be like, yeah. Now, to address this situation, the people that I actually had in mind to play Storm, if they would decide to do this, but I don't think it'll happen. I had Jodie Turner-Smith as Storm or Lupita Nyong'o. Those are my two choices. Before we got to this topic, friend to the show, Onyx was saying that he thought Dominique Jackson, who plays Elektra Abundance, Wintour, Evangelista, whatever name she decided to jump into, who's at the house at the moment, from Pose, he thought that she would make a good Storm. Actually, I've known a lot of people, especially in the queer community, who have been shipping for Dominique Jackson to want to play Storm. I know some people will probably take question of like her range of acting, and she could work on that. That's why acting teachers were developed. Well, remember, once upon a time, there was a lot of actors who started out not so great, but have become good on screen. Channing Tatum was one of them. Channing Tatum was a horrible actor when he first started out. Now he's gotten better. Dwayne Johnson at one point was terrible, but then at a certain point, they figured out how to mold those stories around him, and then he became, he just does Dwayne Johnson isms in a movie. So he's probably not a good example to use. One example that I would say would be good to use is Dave Bautista. He's someone who was an athlete and a wrestler, in that whole world and stuff, and then took the time to understand the craft, and he's become one of the most sought after actors in the industry. I don't know what he was thinking making that new Mila Jovovich movie that he got coming out with Paul W.S. Anderson directing it. Everybody's allowed to misfire every now and again. But for the most part, Dave Bautista has been improving on his acting. So, with that being said, I wasn't thinking about Cynthia Erivo in the beginning, but now that her name has been floating around and she's saying that she'd be down to do it, I'm actually here for that. I think she'd make a great Storm. I think she has the range. I think she's a phenomenal actress. She's a beautiful woman. She's got the perfect skin, because I'm tired of y'all putting these little mixed ones. No shade, but we need to get some people that actually appear that have the Black woman exterior, and stop picking these little mixed race girls to be up in here trying to play, these racially ambiguous people to be playing Storm. I live for Halle Berry and I live for Alexandra Shipp, but I want a Black woman, full on chocolate sister, up in here playing Storm. I need y'all to be, authentic in that whole sense. I also think that Cynthia is absolutely correct when she said that I don't think we've uncovered how grand she is and all of the inner turmoil that she has. And I don't feel like they've really explored the true essence of Storm and her inner turmoils and really showing her power at its fullest. Because one of the things that has always irritated me, and I live for Halle Berry, and she is one of my favorite actresses, but I hated the way that Bryan Singer presented her on the big screen. He wasted her in a lot of situations. I was also thinking the other day, remember that scene in X2 when Jean Grey decided to get herself out of the damn ship and trying to prevent the water from swallowing up the ship or whatever the case was, she sacrificed herself? Now, Storm is supposed to be somebody that deals with water and things of that nature. Why did she get her ass up out of the ship and help her or be the one to stop it? I guess because they wanted to pass off this arc of doing the whole Dark Phoenix thing and all that other stuff. So that's what kind of irritated me about this. But wait a minute. Storm deals with water and storms and all these other things. She would have been beneficial for that scene. But we see what you was doing. So you basically having Storm, who, as a damn pilot, she could fly. what she need to be piloting for. So there was a lot of things that had me side-eyeing decisions that was put in the movie where it was like, did you not read the comments and understand like what Storm's full powers even mean and all this other stuff? I feel like the closest we got to that was in situations of like, I heard that What If episode, even though What If season 3 was a bit mixed from what I've heard. People were saying that they liked the way that Storm was handled in that. And also, I didn't mind Storm's portrayal in X-Men 97. The recent, yeah, X-Men 97. I was going to say the recent one that was Bo DeMayo did. Duh, it was called X-Men 97. So, um, so for what Cynthia Erivo is saying, I agree with her on that. Now, as far as like what I was saying about her casting, I'd be down for it. I would love to see her portray that part. I'm just hoping that when we get an X-Men movie or reboot, that they finally do the X-Men justice, because I feel like out of all the X-Men films that we've gotten, I don't think all of them were good. Like, to me, the best X-Men's was the second one, X2. That's my favorite. X-Men Days of Future Past is another one that's a favorite of mine. And damn, I forgot what was the other one. I cannot remember the name of it. Oh, X-Men First Class. That was like one of my favorites too. X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, and X2. Those three I only acknowledge. All the other ones were terrible. I thought the first one had the potential. It was okay. The wigs were quite, a choice in certain situations. Storms, I did not like her wig. I didn't like Jeans. There was a lot of bad wigs in that damn movie. But there were certain sequences in the film that worked for me, but it was uneven. But I understood the potential, so I'm not going to go too hard on that one. X2, of course, stepped their pussy up in regards to the way they did that film. We're not even going to acknowledge what happened with The Last Stand. That was a disaster. And then they brought in Brett Ratner because the original director, Bryan Singer, went off and directed another movie. I think it was Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, who I'm hearing is getting a divorce, by the way. And then after that, they decided to revive the franchise, and then that's when they started the one with Matthew Vaughn and all the stuff where they had the new cast. So I was liking that, but and so I like those films, and of course, Days of Future Past. Love that freaking movie. I can watch that movie all the time and just not get bored. And we don't even acknowledge Dark Phoenix. That I don't know what the hell that was. So, I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards of Cynthia Erivo expressing interest on wanting to portray Storm in the potential, in the MCU reboot of X-Men? And if not Cynthia Erivo, who is your dream actor to want to play Storm? As well as you can even throw in who you think should play Beast, Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean. Although the rumors are going around that Sadie Sink from Stranger Things is playing Jean Grey, but there's no confirmation and stuff on that. So y'all can throw in your little dream cast and stuff in the comments, as well as everything else on this topic down in the comments below. Magical Mermaid says the Billie Holiday bio was so good. Wait, remind me, who was in that? I think I saw that years ago, but they always come out with different biopics of the same people. Why does she want to keep the? You're so funny. Why does she keep wanting to want to keep defying gravity? I guess it's better than keeping your feet on the ground. Bad Times at the El Royale was so good. I never saw that. I need to get around to seeing that though. I think it was on like Peacock or one of those channels. I need to get around to watching that film. Her personal preference, but I would love Storm to be dark skin, a knock your eye complexion. That's what I said. No shade, but I really want. I really want a dark skinned woman to play. I don't care who it is, as long as they're a good actor and they're a darker complexion. Because I'm tired. As much as Black people come in all different shades and hues and all the other stuff. However, I'm tired of Hollywood with this game of, okay, so y'all only want to pick these safe Negroes, where y'all think only Black people should be these racially ambiguous types. And I understand y'all do that, and we could see the reason why y'all doing that, but stay with the source material in regards of who these characters are. Well, Magical Mermaid, I shall pray for you. I'm kidding. Everybody's entitled to like the movies they like. I sent you a screenshot of how someone made her look as Storm. I think I was seeing a lot of pictures and stuff of oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm like, wait a minute, who are these people? Why am I seeing all these different pictures? I don't know how I don't think I like that picture. I don't like how they made her look. I was like, you know, like it, but I'm like, okay. That was not a flattering photo, and that wig looked a mess too. I wish I could show you on here, but oh, you said Andra Day. As who? Not as Storm. They were like, she a little too light skinned. Plus, that movie that she did with Lee Daniels and Glenn Close playing her mother, I don't like her acting in that. Oh, you said Andra Day. Oh, you said it's on Hulu. Thank you. Wait, Andra Day as Storm? Oh, so you're saying it's on the Bad Times at El Royale's on Hulu? Oh, you're saying that she was Billie Holiday. Thank you. I was lost. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all want Andra Day playing Storm? Oh yeah, I heard about. Oh yeah, I heard about that movie. I think she promoted it on The View. Are you talking about Chalamet and Megan Good? Who that you want them in the X-Men? First of all, I've heard Timothée Chalamet's name being floated around that people want him to play Nightcrawler. I was like, I could definitely see that because he has the hair, and I want Nightcrawler to have like this this luxurious curly hair. So I would like him to have that. Plus, the blue and all the stuff, and he's skinny enough. So I would like to see him because I didn't mind. Funny enough, I have not had an issue with any of the previous Nightcrawlers. I like what the hell is his name? The host of the damn Traitors. Why is his name escaping me? Sidebar. I need to watch the Traitors, and I'm pissed off because somebody already revealed who the damn traitor is. And I'm like, really? Oh, it wasn't even somebody. It was fucking Pink News. I'm like, why did you have to put that in your damn headline? Because I was looking up the thing about RuPaul in the UK, and then they put in the headline that he's a traitor. I'm like, really? So y'all had to reveal that? Like we all didn't see it yet. Hello, you're gonna put spoiler in the shit. So I was irritated. Um, but whatever. I'm gonna still watch the traitors. You said F Pink News. Oh yeah, because of the alleged discrimination that they've been doing over there. But Megan Good as Storm. Well, look, she's gonna need a job because the Harlem been canceled after this new season finishes. That's what I heard. I saw that news today. Oh yeah. So I was reading that. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I like Andrew Day. She definitely gives me Billie Holiday vibes. Epic news. They fuck them hoes. But anyway. Okay, so now let's move on to some more movie news. And let's talk about The Brave and the Bold because Andy Muschietti is out here spilling tea. And it's looking like there might be some drama transpiring behind the scenes of, at the DCU. And I'm just like, this is not a good look, especially because we have a lot of these Snyder supporters out here who are looking for any kink in the armor where they can go and be like, see, I knew this is going to be a disaster. Justice for Henry Cavill, and we're going to hear all that crap. And it's like, we don't need no kind of negative anything coming out where it makes things look bad for the DCU, especially when they're trying to get their stuff off the ground. There's been a lot of great buzz surrounding the new Superman movie, although they were saying like, oh, the test screenings weren't really doing all that well. And I'm like, test screenings don't mean dick, to be honest, in the beginning. It's literally just we're putting the thing together. You're not going to get all the special effects and everything yet because we're still working on that. But we're just giving you a rough cut of the thing. And it's basically a thing that you put out there to get feedback to be like what you should trim, what you should keep in, all the other stuff. So it's just getting feedback from the people that are sitting there watching the film. That's basically what a screening, an early screening is. It's not literally the film is done. People have watched it and they said, oh, it's not good. That's not what that is. Like, we're 6 months away from the damn movie coming out. So people need to relax. Or it's just, like I said, these people that are just wanting to see this movie as well as anything that James Gunn and Peter Safran comes out and fails. But regardless of that, it looks like, for base, if you believe the story over at Joe Blow, Andy Muschietti is putting stuff out here where it's like, you giving people ammunition to kind of go against them. But here's the thing. I'm not necessarily going in on Joe Blow. This is Andy Muschietti saying this in an interview in Spanish. And it's funny how, like, because that's his first language, for those of you who didn't know this. But the funny thing is, I always find it funny when people go over to different countries, or they'll be on a podcast and speaking a different language, that they think that people aren't watching the thing and they'll be able to translate what they're saying, and then it'll become a big story. Like, I never understand people when they do that. Y'all go on a whole nother platform. Oh, nobody's seeing this. Do y'all know that the world, the internet is worldwide? I mean, it's called WWW, which stands for World Wide Web. It stands for that for a reason. So, according to the story in Joe Blow, it says the news that Andy Muschietti would direct The Brave and the Bold came shortly after The Flash raced into theaters. And you already know what happened with The Flash. The Flash was a mess. It wasn't a good, like, in my opinion, there were parts of the movie that I liked. Overall, the movie was a mess. It was all over the place. I didn't mind Sasha Calle as Supergirl. I didn't even actually mind Ezra Miller as the Flash. I thought he was a good part of it. But there was the special effects was a little wonky. There were certain scenes I'm like, for why did y'all make that decision? But whatever. So, while they said that many fans have reportedly questioned James Gunn's decision to bring Muschietti back into the fold, especially what had transpired between him and the previous regime over at Warner Brothers. So they said the director may fare better, no longer forced to work under continuously changing Warner Brothers regimes, but whether he's the right person to tell this Batman and Robin story is up for debate. Now, another quote has been translated from a recent interview Muschietti did, and well, it doesn't bode particularly well for the filmmaker still taking charge of The Brave and the Bold, saying, I've had conversations with James Gunn about the story concept, but we haven't talked since before Superman began filming. And what people need to realize is Superman actually began filming in February of 2024. So actually, next month, obviously, February, makes a year since he been working on Superman. So he's basically saying that, yeah, we haven't spoken almost a year about what's going on. So we've talked about story concepts, but we haven't been talking back and forth in regards of all the stuff that's been going on with that. And so then he also said, hold on. So it's now Gunn. This says that Gunn has insisted that the movie hasn't been delayed, or with both him and Matt Reeves strongly hinting that Robert Pattinson's Batman will be the DCU's Dark Knight, Muschietti being sidelined is looking increasingly likely. Now, as everyone knows, the Batman feature in The Brave and the Bold will belong to the new DC universe. It's quite obvious that Matt Reeves' Batman is not part of the new universe. This is what he said elsewhere in this interview. However, DC and Warner Brothers are moving forward with the second part of Reeves' Batman series, which is widely reported is expected to release around 2027. And so Matt Reeves also was recently on the red carpet at the Golden Globes, and he said that they're going to start filming this year. He said very soon. So who knows what very soon means? Is it tomorrow? Is it 6 months from now? Is it December of 2025? We don't necessarily know. But they moved the movie to 2027, the release of October 1st, 2nd, I think one of those days. The first week of October on that Friday in 2027 is supposed to get a release. Now, they said realizing two Batman films simultaneously wouldn't be counterproductive. What DC is doing is creating a strategy to ensure that these two films don't conflict with each other. Regarding my involvement in the project, there are good intentions for now. They want to do the movie with me, and I want to do it as well. I'm eager to work on the film. We are talking about the story and the tone. Well, I feel like if you're going to do the story in the tone, I do feel like, if you're going to be doing a story about Batman and his son, Damian Wayne, then I do feel like it needs to have sort of like this dark tone to it. Like, it needs to be fully grounded. It needs to be an action film where you get like father and son kicking butt and taking names. It definitely, I don't necessarily know if an R rating is needed. You can push for a hard PG-13 or maybe go for an R. But I honestly think if you're going to do two different stories regarding the Brave and the Bold, and you're doing also the Batman Part 2, I don't think that we need Robert Pattinson in both films. I do feel like you need to bring in a different Batman. You're telling two different stories. Matt Reeves is doing what he's doing over there, and that works. I feel like if you're trying to do what James Gunn is doing with his iteration of the DCU, then I do feel like if you're going to be doing that, it needs to have sort of like this elseworldy superpower type of thing. Like, how the hell does a Superman exist in a Matt Reeves Batverse when Matt Reeves's tone of his Batverse focuses heavily on making a lot of the superhero stuff based in reality. When you look at the Batman, when you looked at the Riddler, what he was doing feels like it's set in a real world type situation, especially when you're bringing those David Fincher 7 type of tone. Same thing with the Penguin. The Penguin had more of a Sopranos type of tone where this could actually exist in this world. So we can't have all of a sudden this particular sense of realism and groundedness, and then you're trying to bring in super people with superpowers where you're seeing Green Lantern and you're seeing Superman and you're seeing Hawkman and all these other people that are Hawk Girl, because Hawkman was in that horrible Black Adam. I almost forgot the name of that damn movie. Shout out to Aldous Hodge, who I actually want to play T'Challa whenever they get that off the ground. But yeah, that's two different tones, and you're gonna make it more difficult for these movies to get made because now you're trying to marry the tones. Once you set the tone, that's it. That the fans are already used to it. So we don't want to be like, okay, so I can separate the fan. Okay, James Gunn's superhero DCU completely different than what Matt Reeves is doing over here. And one of the things I feel like is an ace in the hole that I like about the DCU and what they're doing is they're creating different things within their world. They're not necessarily trying to tie everything and interwoven or interlink everything within each other like what Kevin Feige is doing at the MCU, which can be annoying at times. And that you have to watch everything within that whole situation in order to know what the hell's going on. And I like the idea where DCU is going to separate themselves in ways like, yeah, well, we have this movie, but it's not completely attached to this, and everybody's kind of coming in with their own idea and doing their own thing, but it's in this world. So I can get with that. I don't want y'all to try to copy what they're doing over there at the MCU, because then you end up shooting yourself in the foot, and then you get a mess, which is phase 4 and phase 5, where it's like shit is all over the place, and we can't even keep up and know what the hell's going on, because it's like you had to be able to watch WandaVision and know what the hell was going on in Doctor Strange 2, or you had to watch The Marvels, which I absolutely love. Well, Miss Marvel, I love that show, but you had to be able to see all these other. You had to see what the hell's Carol Danvers. You had to see her movie in order to know what's going on in part 2, and then they mixed in this, and then the other girl was in, Monica Rambeau, her being in WandaVision. You had to know her story in order to know what's going on in the Marvel, and it was just all over the place. And not everybody can articulate and get around to watching all these different things. People get overwhelmed, people get irritated, and then your movies flop. So you need to be able to simplify or say it, because remember, in the early iterations of like the early phases of the MCU, what I always liked, there were certain things I didn't get to see. I didn't get to watch all the shows and stuff in the beginning, but they will mention a little something in the movie. Like in Captain America, they'll mention something that happened in a previous show, whatever the case was. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'd have to watch the show to see it, but I'm able to catch on and understand what happened within that world, and you made it easier for me to comprehend that, so that way I can go and watch the film. But y'all now going to be trying to make it like we got to watch all these 500 other damn shows in order to know what was going on in this movie, which people don't have time to do, especially if your show was mid, like Loki. So I say all this to say, I know I went on a little side tangent, but you had to kind of bring it all in to know. But also, if y'all want to see the Andy Muschietti interview, which was on Radio 2, you could definitely go to my website, chrisavalon.com. I did post it at the bottom. It is in Spanish, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping they can work this out. I don't like the idea that Andy Muschietti is saying that I haven't had conversations with James Gunn for this period of time, especially when I feel like James Gunn, if you're going to be an executive, you're going to take on the Kevin Feige role. And I understand you want to set the tone out the gate by doing your own Superman. I feel like at this point, after Superman, you need to lay back. You better lay low. You need to lay back and not direct any more stuff. I feel like now it's time to get in mogul mode. Let Peter Safran handle the business stuff. You handle the talent. So that means you need to stand back. You need to be like, okay, so what's on the table? What are the movies that we're developing? What who's directing what? Who would be good for this? What is the overall tone? Who has an idea? Have all that stuff represented to you in front of you and the people that you trust. Give your feedback and your tone and tell them what the overall tone is. Bring these people in, and you need to be an executive at this point, so that way you can get the DCU on the track that you need to get on, and not just be off directing your movies and editing and doing all other stuff. Because when you do that, it distracts you from wanting to make sure that things are on point with a lot of the stuff coming out. Because we should not be having to wait. Well, speaking of Matt Reeves, we should not have to be waiting 5 years for a sequel to a movie. Like, come on, with the Batman Part 2. And then with the Brave and the Bold, like, what's going on with that? Yeah, y'all have a couple of things coming out, but you got to get it going. So hopefully within the next year or two, they'll have things on track. But sir, after you get Superman out there and once you're done with all that, it's time to get in executive mode and start getting the DCU up and running and start hiring your writers and your directors who you know can bring the quality over the quantity to these projects. But we don't need to be giving these people no ammunition for them to say, see, justice for Cavill and Snyderverse and all that. We don't need the Snyder trolls coming up in here with their I told you so's. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Thank you, Cleveland, for the $5 sticker. But you said, oh. I was like, what happened? What you talking about, B? Yes, we want Black Storm up in here. Oh, you said I had a phone call. Bitch is behind. He said, I had a phone call. Bitch is behind. Well, look, you can always rewind the show back and just and if you kind of come in delayed with your comments later on in the show, I'll understand that you know, you say she's too small. Here's the thing. Everybody looks tall on the big screen, so you can give illusion. Nobody's gonna know necessarily petiteness or height or whatever. Like when you're on screen, everybody looks the damn same. It's the same thing like with Hugh Jackman. Remember, like Wolverine is short in real life. In the writing and stuff. Wait, you know Joe Vaughn? You said Joe Vaughn, go back to your husband. I said, wait, y'all know each other? But you said Cynthia, yeah. But it's like, look, Hugh Jackman is over 6 feet. And yeah, he's over 6 feet. So in the comics, he's not that big. And people make comments about Hugh Jackman's casting that, oh, he's too tall, whatever. But the minute y'all saw him on that screen, y'all was living for it. So I don't mind the height because we don't know. And I'm sure Halle Berry wasn't that, the same height as whatever the Storm comic character or whatever is. So I'm all for whoever is best for the job. I don't care what the height of it all is. And they can put in some high heel boots or whatever. Oh, he is a Prague. Because I remember the last time we had a conversation, he was supposed to be going to Prague, so he's officially there. Because said she just wants in on the franchise so she can make that ka-ching. Well, I mean, look, who wants to be broke? I know I wouldn't. I want that good MCU coin too. You said different tones is okay as long as these films stay in their own worlds. Meshing the tones in one film will be difficult, but bringing the characters in a crossover film is easier depending on director. But I would like to see if they could possibly do that, do like some crossovers or whatever. Like if they had a multiverse type situation where it's just like you see the Batman's collide. I know a lot of people been talking about that for the Brave and the Bold. They want Alan Ritchson to play him, but I was like, I like Alan Ritchson. He has the body, especially if you watch Reacher. But I don't know if he has the range to do Batman and Bruce Wayne. You gotta be able to have both. Kind of like when I look at Spider-Man. I always feel like the closest person that gives me both Spider-Man and Peter Parker is Tom Holland. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Andrew. Oh my God, what the hell's his name? Andrew Garfield, who is looking like a snack these days. I just saw him at the Golden Globes. Why did I want to dive through my TV and just jump on top of him? I was like, oh, he is. He was looking like a snack up in that damn thing. But I like Andrew Garfield and I like Tobey Maguire. But overall, I felt like the person that gave me both, that I was able to really sit in the whole pocket with it, is Tom Holland. So, Mattia said, let Cynthia be the animated voice of Storm. Okay. Well, look, I think she does kind of have the look. Overall, my choice, I've said Jodie Turner-Smith. I would like to see her play her, or Lupita Nyong'o. But whoever they choose, I'm here for it. Well, we just got to find out who they choose, and then we'll talk. But I don't mind. I don't think I would have any. I would take any fault with Cynthia playing that character. Okay, let's start some mess up in here. So, our next topic, let's talk about the fact that Billboard has recently crowned Drake and Nicki Minaj as the biggest male and female rappers of the 21st century. So of course I picked this because I knew it was going to start some. Well, I'm not saying I want to be shady and start some mess, but I'm gonna give my opinion on you know, that whole situation in a second. So, Billboard has selected Canadian import Drake at the top of their list of biggest rappers, excuse me, of the 21st century. Now, Eminem ranked second, Kanye came in third, Nelly came in fourth, while Jay-Z rounded out the top five. Nicki was the only female rapper on the list. Now let's see who came in this whole situation. So we had Ludacris at 10, Nicki came in at 9, Kendrick Lamar at 8, 50 Cent at 7, Lil Wayne at 6, Jay-Z at 5, Nelly 4, Ye at 3, Eminem 2, and Drake number 1. Now here's the thing, I'm actually not that, I'm gonna just keep it short and to the point. There's no reason for us to sit here and spend 20 minutes talking about this. As far as 21st century goes, I'm not going to deny the impact that Nicki Minaj has had on pop culture, especially in hip hop, because she definitely has and still has in so many ways. Regardless of how you feel about some of the things that she has done and her attitude and all the other stuff, with notwithstanding, her impact on the culture and what she has brought, in regards of carrying the torch further than so many others that have came before her. I'm not going to discount her. Like I told you, Nicki Minaj can stop making music and will forever sell out arenas. She can always decide, okay, I'm going to go out and do an arena tour, and the Barbs will come out and support, Gag City. They'll all come out and support her, and she'll be able to sell out. I've seen this with my own eyes working her Pink Friday 2 tour. So she definitely has the overall influence over the culture and can still go out here and make her money. Say what you want about Drake and this little Karen move that he's been pulling in regards of like the stunts and shows, because he's mad over the whole situation with, what is it? The stuff with Kendrick and all that other mess. Where I don't understand why he still hasn't sued Kendrick for calling him a PDF file. Is there some truth to some of this tea, sir? Is that why you not suing him? Because the truth hurts and you feeling real salty? So you want to go after these other people and say that they doing payola and all these other things, which, no, quiet as it's kept, they trying to say that that's what you've benefited wholeheartedly from. That you've been, doing all this stuff. So all of the scandalosities and the saltiness and the butthurt aside, I'm not going to hold you, but I definitely agree that as far as we're talking 21st century, yes, Drake and Nicki Minaj are the biggest male and female rappers. Because y'all sitting here talking about Jay-Z and all them, and yeah, they've been putting out, Jay-Z, Eminem, and all of them. Yeah, and it's funny because Jay-Z's career definitely did catapult, and Eminem, and you look at Lil Wayne and all these other artists, their careers started to blow up in the 21st century. So they existed in the 20th century because of the 90s. But once we hit 2000, that was like the beginning of the 21st century. And so, yeah, their careers even benefited even more because, of course, we had MTV, we had TRL, we had all that stuff. So, yeah, they were benefiting wholeheartedly. And hip hop was at its peak around that time, especially because we were mixing hip hop and pop and all the other genre. We were cross pollinating the genre of hip hop. And it started to get big and it became more worldwide. So I'm not mad at this situation of them putting in Nicki and Drake as being the biggest male and female rappers. So yeah, I agree. See, I was like, look, it's easy to get over here and just be throwing shade and stuff, but if this stuff is there, I agree with it. I mean, now I ask you, do you agree with Billboard crowning Drake and Nicki Minaj as the biggest male and female rappers of the 21st century? Y'all don't necessarily have to agree with me. When I do this show, I don't expect everybody to just be in lockstep. This is not a cult. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion about stuff. So I definitely want to hear from you guys if you agree with Billboard and their list. Look, this ain't Rolling Stone where they be doing a controversial stuff or clicking a damn like or, you know, a comment on the Twitter or wherever else that they be posting their damn stuff. So I'm not mad at Billboard over this because, you know, they accumulate sales and all that stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Anna Drop. Who's Anna Drop? Not not Yuck and Double Yuck. No, she's not in jail. I think those charges were actually, they said, wasn't the charges dropped in regards of the whole situation last time I checked? I think the charges and stuff, they're not moving forward with the charges against her, like assaulting the foreign manager and all that stuff. I saw that in passing. I didn't really take time to really pay attention to that article, so I may have to look into it. But I could have sworn I heard that she did drop, that the charges were dropped or something, that they're not moving forward with it. Robert says, as the press for the homosexual news, Chris, what's your thoughts on Anita Bryant and her death? My thoughts are, ding dong, the witch is dead, the wicked witch, the wicked witch, ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. That's my thoughts. The bitch is dead. Good for her. And somebody had the absolute gall to jump in my comments and ask me, they were like, oh, but I thought that we wasn't speaking ill of the dead. I said, oh, now you trying to come for me because of the thing I said about the Vivian and RuPaul and Tyra Sanchez, which you was radio silent on. But Anita Bryant, you up into my comments defending? Man, you a homosexual? What's wrong with you? So I didn't get that. So, so I agree based on hits. Absolutely. So when we talk about hits and stuff and the cultural impact, Drake and Nicki Minaj have that on lock. They are the most, influential of the 21st century. So I'm not hating. I mean, who else could we add up in there? Cardi. We still waiting on album number 2. So we can't keep talking about a 6-year-old damn album with a couple of songs on it that were hits. Yeah, you made the live. Glad to see you here, Zay Love. Okay, so where are we going now? Oh, now speaking of, I'm gonna say most influential in the, with the freak offs. Let's talk about the Diddler, because apparently, y'all know this new documentary that's coming out from, I think it's on, is it on Peacock? Yeah. The new documentary they have coming out on Peacock is supposed to be diving deep into the whole Diddy situation, because there's a bunch of them coming out. I actually posted yesterday, there was another trailer that was released from the people that did, I think it's on the ID channel. So the people that worked behind the scenes and did the Nickelodeon one, almost forgot, the Nickelodeon documentary, they produced this one. I think they also produced the one about Nick Carter. So they did this documentary, and they did another documentary, and they got D Woods that's going to be interviewed up in there, formerly of Danity Kane. I'm going to definitely watch that one. And that's multiple, I think it's 3 episodes. And then they have the guy that accused Diddy of the R word to him. And he was working on that Love album, which I cackled when he decided to change his name to Love. I said, ain't shit about you in the love department. Because I'm sitting there like, this overall vitriol and lie you trying to spread, like you spread love all over the world when you did a lot of demonic shit throughout your damn career. Sir, you need to have several seats on that. But funnily enough, when it comes to this new documentary that's coming out, one of the people that was interviewed said that Diddy learn a lot of his freak off stuff from his nasty ass mama. And you want to know something? I'm not surprised, because sometimes I'll be like, you know what? A lot of this stuff, when it comes to abuse of any kind, molestation, all this other, it's a learned behavior. And I'm not surprised that he was exposed allegedly to sexual situations happening, because his mama was producing freak offs before he was doing it. And so that's why I said I'm not surprised about Janice and them $2 Party City wigs that she be wearing, was out here laying low and spreading the wide, was out here being a pimptress. What do you call a female version of a pimp? A pimptress. So yeah, her and them old $2 Party City wigs was out here playing with her labia minora and majora, probably during the Diddy freak offs of her own. So, according to Rolling Stone, it says that Janice would often throw wild parties at the future music mogul's childhood home, where it wasn't uncommon to walk into a room where adults were having relations, one of Combs' longtime childhood friends claims in the new documentary. Saying, quote, that's what we were privy to. This is what we were fed. This is what hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson says in Diddy. The Making of a Bad Boy, which premieres on Peacock on Tuesday, January 14th. Was it desensitizing us? I'm sure it was. Were we aware of it? No. That was just Saturday night. Now, Patterson used that alleged childhood memory as a possible explanation on how Combs found himself at the center of a federal racketeering and trafficking investigation, where he is accused of forcing his ex, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, to participate in filmed drug-fueled encounters with male hunching workers that Combs allegedly dubbed freak-offs. The 55-year-old is also facing nearly 40 civil lawsuits from men and women alleging that he had preyed upon them between 1990 and 2024. Pleading not guilty to the 3 criminal charges against him, Combs' legal team has categorically denied the claims made against in civil lawsuits, saying, quote, Mr. Combs has never S-A'd or S-trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor, they said in the previous statement. Just like y'all also said that he ain't put paws on Cassie, but we all saw that video. Now, I've always been, now another quote, this is from Patterson. I've always been asked the question why. I don't know the answer to why, but I truly believe it all goes back to childhood. Now, reps for Sean and Janice Combs did not immediately respond for requests for comment. The new Peacock documentary dives into Combs' childhood and early adolescence, speaking with Mount Vernon childhood friends, early Uptown Records colleagues, and Howard University classmate turned hitman music producer Don Amon-Ra Lawrence. Now, Combs grew up in Mount Vernon, a suburb in the fringes of Upper Manhattan. Janice had moved her young family there after Combs' father, Melvin, was unalived in 1972, a known associate of Harlem drug kingpins, including Nicky Barnes, Willie Abraham, and Frank Lucas. Melvin was pow-pow twice in the head, slumped over in a car. Now, Janice kept the details of Melvin's grisly murder from her young son, intended on providing him an idyllic childhood. Now, Combs was always dressed to the nines, and as a result was looked at as a rich kid, Patterson says in the documentary. He played Little League Baseball, served as an altar boy, and made the football team at his all-boys private... Oh, he was Catholic? Let me find out. Well, the minute they said altar boy, I kind of pretty much knew that he was raised Catholic. But Combs' peers could smell he was not tough, Patterson said, claiming that Combs was badly bullied as a kid. Now, meanwhile, at home, there was always things going on, Patterson said, adding that Janice would frequently throw parties at the house. On the weekend, Combs partied in the house, and we did that a lot, he said. He was around all types of alcohol. He was around reefer smoke, drug addicts around, lesbians around, homosexuals. He was around pimps, pushers. That was just who was in the house. People that attended the parties were from Harlem, from the streets. It would be a thing to mistakenly walk into one bedroom and you got a couple in there butt naked. Now, DJ Easy Lee Davis, I'm like, child, I don't clutch my pearls for all this, but it's like, yeah, she was up in here introducing her child to all this mess. Now, DJ Easy Lee Davis, also a Mount Vernon native who was close to Combs and spun for Mary J. Blige in her early years, noted that while he never attended Janice parties, he heard rumors about what occurred at the parties where everyone was welcome. Saying, quote, Janice had little cool chicks that would come around and she made sure everybody was comfortable. This is what he said, laughing. Now, Combs previously mentioned having an early introduction into sex, frequently watching softcore corn, and losing his virginity at age 12, replicating the rough moves he had been watching in adult videos, saying that I was acting like corn stars act. I was smacking that ass. I was smacking the girl's ass. He told Vibe in 1999, I didn't do it on my own. She wanted me to smack that ass. I flipped her over because I saw it in a movie and she told me, do it again. Now, the 90-minute long documentary also includes interviews with singer Albie Shore, whose real name is Albert. Okay, we don't need to go into his real name. We know his name is Albert, who opens up about for the first time, about his acrimonious decade-old relationship with Combs after the music executive aggressively pursued model Kim Porter. At the time, Porter was dating Brown and recently gave birth to their son Quincy. Also speaking out for the first time is Dub A star Sarah Rivers, who details an unsettling experience with Combs while filming the MTV reality show Making the Band in early 2000s, saying, I haven't said anything in so long. And so I'm definitely, look, I'm going to be overwhelmed with all this Diddy stuff. I'm watching that one, and I'm definitely watching the other one with D Woods, because I feel like you want to get everybody from everybody. I'm surprised you haven't got, none of them got Aubrey. Maybe she's saving herself to do the 50 Cent one, but I'm surprised they didn't got Aubrey up in here talking. But then again, at this point, what else can Aubrey reveal when she's been out here speaking out against Diddy, excuse me, long before his ass was locked up? Like, she's been out here spilling Diddy tea. So at this point, is there anything that she can reveal to us that we haven't heard? So maybe it's better that we hear from other people that we've been wanting to hear from versus the person we've always been hearing from. And then we can always just go back to the source and say, see, Aubrey was right. She tried to tell y'all ain't want to listen. Y'all was thinking it was a white girl trying to take a black man down. No, he took himself down. At some point, people need to be responsible for the things that they do and stop with this whole trying to take a black man down narrative. It's tired, it's late, and it's lazy when y'all try to come up with that. It's like people need to take accountability for the stuff that they do. Now, in regards to the situation with Janice, I'm not surprised because I always say, like, I've always found that their relationship was weird. I keep seeing this clip of them where it's like she's getting an IV drip, which made me think like, that was a night of partying that you and your son was doing at the mansion, you know, the legendary freak offs. Because remember, in the stuff, they was talking about how they would get the IV drips because they were spending days partying, and that IV drip keeps you from being dehydrated. So it's like you're relinquishing them fluids back in your body. And she said, I love you. And she looking longingly into her son's face like she want to just put her coochie up in his mouth. The longing look that they would give each other. Yeah, I used to be like, why this is giving me creep vibes? Like she was doing some shit with him, and they was doing some things up in that house when he was growing up, which may have played into his behavior. Because if you were walking around in a house and your mother's throwing freak offs in Harlem, and you've been exposed to all this stuff, where the people up in there doing drugs, hunching, and you were exposed to that, yeah, you're going to think that's some type of normalcy. And if you don't have a mother up in there trying to keep you away from those things, like, yeah, I'm about to be doing my freaky stuff. You need to go somewhere else while I handle my business. And she probably was making money doing that because it's like, yeah, when your father was a drug dealer and you never really got to see him and those other stuff, and your mother was providing for you, clearly she was caught up in some things. Whereas, like, you got to the point where you became ambitious and nobody's hating you on the fact of how you became the big mogul you are today. But the way you went about it, and the things you was doing with people, yeah, you need to suffer the consequences. And I'm not surprised that it's like, yeah, a lot of times when it comes to any kind of form of abuse, physical, sexual, or when you witness things, when you've been exposed to adult performances as a child, you tend to think there's some sort of normalcy there. We hear people who have those type of, porn addictions or whatever the case is, on what transpires from that. I mean, there was a whole conversation, and not saying that. Um, well, maybe I could use this as an example. Like when Justin Baldoni was talking about that, when he was thinking like, a lot of times when people watch adult stuff, adult cinematography, shout out to Nico Aesthetics because that's his term, and I'm gonna use it because it's cleaning it up. Um, when you watch adult cinematography and all this other stuff, you tend to think that that is normal because you think of what you're seeing in a lot of those videos, that's how women should be treated. But it's like, you have to realize this is a fantasy. This is acting. This is not how people have sex in real life. So when y'all sit up there, unless that's something you're into in the bedroom, then that's different. But for the most part, where a lot of times men are we're visual creatures, and we tend to gain a lot of that. We think that what we see in those movies is how we need to be having sex in real life, especially if you get the opportunity to have sex with like these days now, the lines are blurred. Like the porn stars are now content creators and all this other stuff. When you sit up in there doing stuff with them, I don't think they want you doing them like fat rabbit killer. So it's like, relax. Like you don't need to be emulating all of that stuff in the movies, or Yardie style. Y'all don't need to be up in there trying to, ruin somebody's booty hole. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy getting his booty hole ruined behind bars. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? I mean, with the allegations for this documentary that's coming out saying that Diddy may have, a lot of this behavior that he learned from the freak offs and things of that nature, he learned it from his Janice. I'm not surprised because I'm like, yeah, a lot of times when it comes down to these things, people learn these behaviors from the way they were raised or what they're exposed by. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. And we do have a lot of comments. Robert said the fact that you got dragged for saying karma to the actor that had the child, I told him to suck my ass with that foolishness. Yeah, because I made a comment about James Woods was saying because he posted something about he wanted all the Palestinians to be pretty much massacred. And I'm like, okay, well, that's karma for your ass. And when one of my coworkers told me yesterday that he had just lost his homeowner's insurance before the thing happened, I cackled even harder. Because I'm like, yeah, when you out here wishing negative stuff about because I'm reading Cleveland's comment. When you start posting negative stuff about people or saying that stuff, yeah, when you put that energy out there in the world, you're gonna get it back. Are we talking about Nicki and Drake, #1 albums and singles? Well, he can keep crying on CNN. That joke of a damn network. They said they also had the Chris Brown one. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Chris Brown one. Yeah, they produced a lot of those documentaries. To tell you how big the fire is in LA, twice the size of Manhattan, and Gavin is in legal trouble because he can't ban Trump and his team, and that's illegal to ban the government. Well, look, aren't they all moving to Florida? Everybody's moving their businesses to Florida, and it looks like it's appearing to be suspected. Would not be surprised if should we start a conspiracy on here? They'll be like a Trump damn supporter. Why not setting the fires? Oh, you gonna ban Trump from LA? Well, we gonna burn it. But don't worry, we got that story coming out with Jamie Lee Curtis. What is it? Comparing the fire in California to Gaza. I'm gonna read a damn scream queen on this damn show today. Like I said, some of the freaky and abusive stuff isn't learned, not for psychos, socios, and narcs. It comes natural to them. But I think Diddy's is learned and had a mental predisposition. Yeah, I think there is a difference at times when you get people where it's just like it's in their DNA to be a sociopath, it's in their DNA to be just causing harm to people and all the other stuff. Not everything is a learned behavior. I do agree with that. But in Diddy's situation, I do feel like that he was exposed to a lot of stuff, especially being around the people that his mother was around, and he emulated it. And especially when like the people, that was being interviewed, a childhood friend was saying Diddy was bullied. People looked at him like he was soft. Yeah, he was a good kid. He played baseball. He was an altar boy. He was, he went to a private all boys Catholic school. So he was on the straight and narrow and he was being bullied. So then he had to come out and show like, yeah, I ain't no punk. And you get a lot of that when you are a kid who grew up in the hood. As somebody who grew up in the hood, I had to prove like I wasn't soft or that I wasn't going to be rolled over. But luckily, the one good thing I will say as a child of the 80s growing up and in the 90s, when I lived in Brownsville, Brooklyn, that the goons and stuff that we had in those days are not like the goons now. Like a lot of the people that hugged the block that was working and was selling the drugs and all other stuff, they, for some reason, something was going on. I guess maybe the universe was like, oh no, we got bigger plans for this one. So all of them looked out for me. And whenever I would do bad stuff, they would tell them, they would snitch to my mother and I would get a beating. So I used to hate that because they were like, yeah, I'd be trying to act like I was hard and do all the little, bad stuff. And they would snitch on me and I get a beating. And then, I remember even in the days, like they would smell my mother cooking that chicken. And then they'd be like, what you making or whatever. And she'd be throwing chicken out the window. So those were the days. I do miss the old days of when you lived in the projects and you did stuff like that. They don't do that now. Now we live in a society people don't give a fuck about each other. It's just overall selfishness. But there was a mutual respect about people in like if you were in the hood, it was like you had a lot of those that literally respected their elders. Now it's like y'all don't give a good goddamn. I don't know who raised you, this new generation. And he said it looks like the arsonist is a homeless man that started a fire with a blowtorch to keep him warm. Well, you know what? If that's what happened, then there's also hopefully people have the mental capacity, but I don't I don't have high hopes for the mainstream media to do that. To really dig deep in the conversation, this overall conversation of yes, there is a huge homeless epidemic in Los Angeles that needs to be addressed. And hopefully they deal with that and they discuss that. But I doubt it. There are multiple arsonists I've heard about. This is the cackle of all cackles. Biden compares the LA fires to a war. Well, he would know. He one of the main genocidal maniacs. If anybody knows about what a war scene looked like, especially when you've contributed billions of our taxpaying dollars of what's going over there to help BB Netanyahu continue to blow up Gaza and many other places, I'm not surprised that he would compare the LA fires to a war scene. Him and Jamie Lee Curtis. Somebody put a muzzle on the both of them, please and thank you. Give him a Molotov cocktail. Oh, wait, I saw Roro came in here with something. Isn't it fascinating that they can find emergency shelters for all? Absolutely. That's the overall cackle. And I'm glad you brought that up. So now all of a sudden, everybody got an Airbnb, they can put a rich person in, but they can't find a place to put homeless folks. Which is something we was trying to do in New York too. We were trying to, because now Kathy Hochul, that buck-tooth bitch, wants to sit up in here and create something where she wants to have people involuntarily admit the mentally disturbed into a facility. Why are we doing that? When there was a position at one point, progressives wanted to create places where they could put the mentally disabled and homeless people in homes and get them off the street. Y'all didn't want that. So now this is your solution? Bitch, go eat a dick. Just like a lot of people mad at this bitch for starting a $9 congestion out in New York. Now they talk about, more people taking the subway. I'm like, where the fuck y'all been? Y'all should have been taking the subway. Even though the subway get on my damn nerves. I was trying to get home. I left work early yesterday and the train traffic. I'm like, for what? And then all of a sudden it goes express. So I'm like, so what was all this? I feel like y'all be bullshitting in these damn with the damn trains. That's why I be pissing me off. The games that they be playing in New York City subways, it just drives me to drink. And then I saw this video on YouTube where this guy did like the 5 worst. He did the 5 worst subway trains in New York. I think he picked the 5. The J is terrible. The L train's always there's always some damn construction going on with the L train. The L train is on my goddamn nerves. And it's been like that for years. And I'm sitting there like, even the infrastructure in New York is terrible. And I'll be wondering, I'm like, how is it that China is way ahead of us in regards to the infrastructure? But I can't even get good damn internet in the subways in New York. Funnily enough, if I'm on the train, the only streaming service that I can watch a show or movie on is Netflix. Everything else messes up. Netflix lasts me a long time. I don't know what it is about Netflix. I don't know what deal with the devil you made. But how is it that y'all the only thing that works in the New York City subway and everything else doesn't? Man, anyway, let me get off this New York politicians get on my goddamn nerve bandwagon, and let's move on and let's talk about Bethenny Frankel, who is spilling tea about the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively situation. It's like all of a sudden a lot of people are coming out and saying stuff. Like the last video we did was Armie Hammer, an old video that he did over on Watch What Happens Live, where he was spilling tea. He didn't really say it, but his face said it all, and the stuttering in between. That Blake Lively is a nightmare to work with. And a lot of people have said that she's a nightmare to work with. And I'm not surprised by all of this. But Bethenny Frankel, who actually revealed on a TikTok that she ended up going to a movie premiere for It Ends With Us in New York City a couple of months ago, and revealed some tea about what she had witnessed while attending said premiere. So I have the video, courtesy of her TikTok. We'll play it and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
I have the craziest It Ends With Us premiere story that I totally forgot about, and I'm putting the pieces together now. And I'm going to share something with you I haven't told anyone because I thought it would get me canceled. Okay. So I go to the It Ends With Us premiere with Danielle, who I work with. I wear a cute pink dress. I'm excited. I show up. I walk the carpet. Then something that I've never seen in over 20 years ago in movie premieres happens, and they say there's an hour between the carpet and the premiere. Now, maybe that happens. I've never seen that happen. Okay. So there's an hour, and it's like too short to go to dinner, too long to stand there in stilettos. And so I see one of Blake's team members, and they're a little distant and a little like icy to me. Just there's something that I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And I've, in other circumstances, this person is not this way. And it was slightly off-putting to Danielle and I. We both like noted it. And then it was one of these theaters that has all these like escalators in it. Okay. So we're like, what do we do? So we go to get margaritas. And that night, like I had a malfunction, my strap came off and we went to drink margaritas. I think it was raining and we were like walking outside in the rain and it was just like a mess. But we were having fun because we got buzzed on these like mason jar margaritas and they were great. And we come back to see the movie. I'm excited to see the movie. And because I love Blake Lively, I'm so excited. So we walk upstairs and we see Anna Wintour. She passes us. And I'm like, oh my God, wow, we'll do that another time, but like, let's park that. So then we keep walking and this guy says to me, oh, hey, Bethenny, you know Justin, he was on your podcast. And he's in this one like line and we say hello to each other. I didn't remember who he was. I don't know why, but we say hello to each other. He was very nice. I think he was wearing purple. And he's in this one theater. And then we think this, we saw him. So we're just going into the theater. Not usually, always, unless it's a weird different screenings, the premiere is in one giant theater and there might be like an overflow theater. Okay. But here, like he's in one theater, something's going on somewhere else. I saw Anna walk this way. So they take us and they put us all the way to the left in this theater where like nobody was in this theater. And it was just strange. It felt like everybody was separated. And I just called Danielle to be like, oh my God, like everybody was separated. I mean, now we're hearing about everybody being separated and the vibe was off. And so what I didn't tell anybody, because I was like, we'll be canceled, was we left because the vibes were not vibing. Like wasted hair, makeup, outfit to go to the city, drink a margarita in a mason jar, take a bucket of popcorn, take 2 bites, see Anna Wintour, see Justin Baldoni, and left to go back to Connecticut, like talk about blue balls. So something was definitely awry from the jump, and it was palpable. And what the getting canceled for is like you don't go to a premiere and like walk the carpet and leave. Like you just don't do that. And it's sometimes they're really bad movies and you want to leave and you can't. But like I remember calling my publicist and be like, the vibes were not vibing. Like we left, but it felt like I was doing something wrong, but it felt like I was also doing something right. Something was fucked. I have the craziest It Ends With Us premiere story that I totally forgot about.
Okay, so y'all pretty much got the gist. That a lot of people. She's basically confirming what a lot of people were saying that at the premiere, they were basically separated. That they had them in 2 separate theaters, which is weird because I've worked many of screenings and stuff and premieres. I even did, and it's funny because she's talking about Blake Lively, and I actually met her years ago when the first Deadpool came out, and we had the big premiere at the AMC in Times Square. So, and it was like them coming down the escalator, very much like Donald Trump when he did his first situation. It was very much that they were descending down the thing like they were royalty or whatever the case was. And so, it was just like, Normally when we do screenings, we don't do two separate theaters. Everybody's in the same theater. Everybody's kind of just like assigned, there's a reserved seats in the first couple of rows where you seat the celebrities and all the stuff, and then you just watch the film, and then you have the Q&A or whatever the case is, that however it's set up. And so for Bethenny, we said, it's like, yeah, that is highly unusual that you would have celebrities coming up in here and you would do that. But look, at this point, like I've said many a times, a lot of people are team. It seems like a lot of people are becoming team Justin Baldoni on this. I did not mean to close that picture, but instead of Team Blake. And I think it's because, like I've said many a times, Blake's negative reputation in the industry has come back to haunt her. Now, this is not trying to say like, okay, maybe there is some truth to the possibility that Blake is, and that Blake may have dealt with some harassment type of situations. I just want to know personally, in these situations, at what times were you alone with Justin for him to be able to say or do the things you've been accusing him of? Because when it comes down to it, a lot of these celebrities are not left by themselves. A lot of times they have an assistant or somebody who's in the room with them. So if that's the case, you need to have them being called to the stand to be able to testify on your behalf and say that you were a witness to whatever Justin is being accused of doing per this lawsuit. I also don't understand what's the point of this lawsuit, because it's like, why did you wait months after the movie was released to all of a sudden sit out here and say that Justin Baldoni made you feel uncomfortable and was making you do all these crazy things? Another thing that rubs me the wrong way is why the hell is like, if this is not your movie, how is it that she got to have final cut approval over this film when this is not your film? This was Justin Baldoni's movie because he's the director. I would think as the director, you would have the final say in regards of how you want your movie done, unless it's a situation where the studio interferes and then they end up trying to take it over and do whatever the hell they want to do with the movie. But for the most part, Blake, you're the actress. You are starring in the film. How are you having a final say over how this film is done? Because they're saying that the final cut was her decision. She's not the director. And also, allegedly, she brought in Ryan Reynolds, her husband, to rewrite certain scenes. Why is he coming in writing stuff? This is not his film. You need to be focusing over there on Deadpool, which, of course, according to some people, he may have shot himself in the foot by incorporating some Justin Baldoni shade with Nice Pool in Deadpool 3. This is what some of the fans are saying. So for her interference, her alleged on-set bullying, and all the things that she was doing, and then allegedly they're saying that they have Justin on tape saying that he was kind of banished to the basement over some things that were transpiring behind the scenes. It's not looking good on her part. Now, I'm not trying to say he's innocent, because I'm sure there probably was some stuff he was doing behind the scenes too, and it could have came out of frustration for her coming on stage acting like her shit don't stink, and her trying to come in and take over his damn movie, which would frustrate the hell out of me too. But we don't necessarily know the full extent. This is why I don't know if anybody's going to win in this situation, because it's looking bad on both sides. I appreciate Bethenny for telling her side of the story, which is like, yeah, she did sense like something was off in regards of what was transpiring there while they were doing this, this movie premiere, in regards of all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. And let's also not forget how she was using this movie, which is about violent, what is it? Is domestic violence, any kind of abuse, sexual, whatever the case is, that she's using this movie to hawk her products. Her hair care line and her a drink line, which from what I was hearing from people that was in my comments, and shout out to y'all, the ones that was on TikTok and it was on YouTube, they were saying that there were influencers. It wasn't just like random people throwing at shade or talking about her products were bad. These were actually beauty influencers or influencers of people who, try out different products that were underwhelmed by the products that she was endorsing. So I don't know if she can necessarily blame Justin Baldoni and the bad press that she received for this movie as to why her products have plummeted. I don't think people cared enough to equate the two. The problem was, and I remember seeing this in the comments where she was promoting the movie and she was talking about her products, people were turned off by her using the press tour for this film as an opportunity to hawk her products. People thought it was in poor taste. Like, how are you talking about the heavy subject matter of this film, and then you're having Ryan Reynolds come in to change up scenes because you feeling uncomfortable about the sex? Now, one thing I did not know about, but I've been hearing stuff about, is that Ryan Reynolds is a Mormon, And so is she, because, I guess, I don't know if she was born and raised a Mormon or she married into Mormonism. But, Mormons feel a way about sex and all, and showing skin and all that other stuff. So if your religious background has come into play because you are honoring your husband or whatever, then sis, you should have never signed on for this movie to begin with, knowing the subject matter that is put into It Ends With Us. If this is a movie about domestic violence, if it's a movie about sexual abuse, if it's a movie where you got to show your titties and your ass, you should not have signed on to do this movie. This is like a goddamn Mormon doing Basic Instinct. Why would you even sign on to do that? Knowing your religious background. If it's against your religious beliefs, and if that trumps you trying to separate that and being an actor and playing the part that you were signing on to play, then this is not a role you should have done. So she wanted to come up in here and change stuff up. And now she's mad because, to me, it seemed like the years of bullying from being on Gossip Girl on down, she finally met her match with Justin Baldoni. She took his kindness for weakness, and he checked her. So we'll see how this story goes and how it progresses as we continue. So I ask all of you this. What do you think about what Bethenny had to say regarding going to the It Ends With Us premiere and expressing the shenanigans and the what she witnessed when she went to said event a couple of months, last year in 2024? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay. So Rose says, isn't it fascinating they can find a murder? Oh, yeah, I read that already. Harvey basically told Justin's lawyer that your client is just as guilty as she is. So you want me to go there, and that shut him up. Well, I think I've pretty much been implying that for a while, that I feel like based off of the more information I get, and here's the thing. I'm not going to hold you, but this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni trot story, the suit, it has been hard to follow. So that's why I'm glad that other people are coming out and saying everything, because it's like, what? Another lawsuit? And what are you accusing this one of? And what? It's like, it becomes too much. It's overwhelming. I get irritated. It's like, okay, I'm about to bail out of this situation, but now I'm too invested, so I can't leave. So, so yeah, I agree. What a mess. But yeah, to me, to be honest, quite frankly, it's like when I think of, quiet as it's kept, I don't think of Blake Lively. So I don't even care enough for her to be. I mean, if I saw her, someone's like, yeah, I know her from Gossip Girl, blah, 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 and I'll check out her stuff, but she was never like that girl that really stood out for me. Quiet as it's kept, I didn't watch Gossip Girl for her. I watched it for Leighton Meester and Connor Paola, who played her gay brother. But other than that, I didn't watch Gossip Girl for Ed Westwick, because I was looking for him and his British Queenie shade. So I didn't watch Gossip Girl for her. Blake Lively was like the least of my, that I was most excited to watch when I was on that show. And now I know why. Her mom has tons of money though. Who? Blake Lively's mother? I mean, look, the only one how I knew Blake Lively was from her sister Robin, because she played the Teen Witch in Teen Witch. And I love that movie. Even that little rap sequence. I was like, how does she have tons of money? What does she do? That inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so let's get into this Allison Holker story, because a lot more people are coming for her neck. And no shade, but based off of the stuff I've been reading about Miss Mamas, I don't feel no way to hide about her getting dragged. So Allison Holker has taken a lot of heat since announcing that she is releasing a memoir spilling all the tea about her husband, Stephen Twitch Boss, who took his own life in 2023. Now, Twitch's family and friends have dragged her online over her recent People magazine interview, and most recently, former contestants from the reality competition series So You Think You Can Dance have aired their grievances. Now, for those of you who are not aware, because I know there was some people that was online saying like they don't know who Allison Holker is, where she's from. I know who Allison Holker is because I watched So You Think You Can Dance. I've been watching the season, well, since the show first came on. Who won? Nick Lazzarini, I think, won season 1. And then season 2, I believe it was Travis Wall, who I've always had a big crush on him. I got a lot of crushes. But yeah, the gays was winning, jail. So watching, so I've been a fan of So You Think You Can Dance because I was watching, during the era of that and American Idol, I was in my reality TV competition bag back in the day. This was like 15 something odd years ago. And Allison Holker was a contestant like tWitch on So You Think You Can Dance. So that's where she's from. Her background is she's a dancer. She was on So You Think You Can Dance, and that's how she met tWitch. She also, I think last season, the season that Nigel Lithgow was supposed to be on, but because of them allegations against him and with Paula Abdul, he stepped down, and then they had Allison as a judge alongside JoJo Siwa and Maxim Chmerkovsky. So getting back to the story. So You Think You Can Dance alums are weighing in on Allison Holker's recent comments about her late husband, Stephen Twitch Boss, while promoting her upcoming memoir, even to the point where we have Twitch's own mother coming out and saying something. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I want to get to y'all what the people from So You Think You Can Dance said, and then we'll get to Twitch's mother. So in an interview with People for the latest cover story, Holker, who discussed her new book, This Far, My Story of Love, Lost, Opportunity, I threw that part in there, and Embracing the Light, opened up about how she allegedly discovered a cornucopia of Boss's drug paraphernalia in the closet while picking out an outfit for him to wear for his Feud. The Ellen DeGeneres Show co-executive producer, So You Think You Can Dance alum and longtime DJ died by unalarming himself I already said that, at age 40 in I said 2023. It was actually 2022. So I got to go in and edit that. So now they said after the interview began circulating online, including Holker herself, shared a clip on her social media. Several So You Think You Could Dance stars called out Holker on social media, slamming the fellow professional dancer. Now, Courtney Allen Platt, Nate Galliano, who reportedly was a longtime friend of Boss and Holker and appeared alongside the former on season 4 of So You Think You Can Dance, went off on Holker in an Instagram post referencing People's interview with her that featured the headline, Stephen Twitch Boss, widow Allison Holker discovered his drug addiction in a very scary moment before the funeral. She said, anyone who knows me knows I go straight to the source during a conflict and handle my business. But since there's clearly no shame in being so public, I haven't said a word in 2 years, but here I go. I believe I read this the other day because I went and did the whole here I go, the salt and pepper thing. So she was like, I was there the moment that you connected. I was there the day you got engaged. I stood by your side on your wedding day. I was in your home the day he died. I was by your side because your husband was my family. It didn't matter how often we spoke, how often we saw each other. We were bonded forever. This is by far the most tacky, classless, opportunistic act I have ever seen in my entire life. We all had to sign some weird NDA to attend his funeral, even his own mother, who you treated like garbage this entire time. And let's just remember, you wouldn't have even had a husband if it wasn't for her. Not to share anything or ruin his name as if that was on anyone's mind in the first place. And here you go and write a book with all the dirty laundry smearing his name and attempting to dim the bright, loyal, loving light that was your husband, my friend. Whether any of this is true or not is actually beside the point. This is how you protect the boss's name. The boss name. You so quickly dropped on your social media platforms 48 hours after he passed, his legacy. This is how you protect his children from any further humiliation, hurt and despair. This is what you want them to remember about him. You have moved on. You're living your life. You're on every carpet you can get on, every celebrity road you can sit in, every magazine you could be in, and you needed to do this? Get a journal, a therapist, a friend, but publishing a book shamelessly sharing the pages of your husband's journal? People magazine? What a joke. Yes, he took his own life, which is an act all of us still can't fathom, and he was clearly having mental health issues, hurting so deeply, and this is your example of empathy? Of your love? This smear campaign for a buck is absolutely not what he would have ever wanted. No matter how bad he was hurting, not for a second, you're a living, breathing bulldozer. Stick to your own demons. Shame on you, Allison. Shame on your money-hungry team. Let my friend rest in peace, not your PR. Child, if that ain't a read of all reads, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's the post. We'll leave it there up for a second while we continue. Now, she also accused Holker of removing her married last name from her social media profiles 2 days after his passing, which is what we told her. And I'm gagging over that. I was like, girl, you literally are using this man as a way to sell your book. Because I was sitting there wondering the other day, after we talked about it last, I was like, well, wait a minute. So you writing a book about love and loss and all the other stuff. So was the whole book about your relationship with Twitch and all the things you discovered and the fact that you went and read his journal and revealed some personal information that I don't think we needed to know about? Maybe you should have given the book to his mother and been like, I feel like this is something you need to have. This was something near and dear of his. And I don't know, there's some personal things in there. If you want to read it, be my guest or whatever. I don't know. I in a way, I do kind of feel of two minds about the whole personal journal thing. But I do feel like if it's his mother or whatever, that she would want to know or have some sort of closure or understanding of her son and things about him that she would have liked to have discovered. And in there, he revealed that he was sexually abused as a child. And she reveals this shit in the book. Now, I don't think this was her place to tell that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm here for people if, you're trying to work out your grievances and all that other stuff, and you need to work on that and figure out how you're going to survive without the man who was your husband, because he was dealing with a lot of demons and he didn't want to burden anybody, which I've always said is like, one of the main things of being a person of color or a Black man is that we're taught to not deal with a lot of our emotions or to kind of suppress a lot of our mental situations because therapy is frowned upon. Things are changing a little bit, but for the most part, in Black families, don't you put my business out in that street. You better not be telling them people my business. What kitchen table talk, whatever happens in this house stays in this house. I've heard all those phrases growing up from my parents on to even relatives. So that's always been a thing. So yeah, I could understand that maybe that is the world that Twitch came from as well. But of course, Allison, it does feel like this is a cash grab. Like, I'm all for, you wanting to get closure and work on those things. And don't get me wrong, I also think that, she has a right to tell her story. And if she wanted to do that, she can go to People Magazine and do an interview, but to put it out as a book, I feel like that's a step too far. So, Chelsea Hightower, who also appeared on Boss's season of So You Think You Can Dance, backed up Platt's words, taking to her Instagram stories. Now, along a screenshot of Platt's post, Hightower wrote, I've known Allison since I was an early teen, and seeing her choose to share such deeply personal details about Twitch's struggles feels so disappointing and inappropriate. Twitch was an incredibly kind and loving man who always looked out for others, making everyone feel included and valued, including myself. He deserves to be remembered for the light he brought into this world, not reduced to his struggles. R.I. actually peace at Sir_Twitch_. A lot of you are missed and loved by So Man. She continued in her statement, adding that she shared Platt's words because I feel they speak to the heart of the situation. Meanwhile, season 7, So You Think You Can Dance winner Lauren Froderman also posted Platt's Instagram post to her IG stories, saying, I haven't said much because I struggle with knowing whether it's my place or not, but this is just not the way. I think they meant the way because they put the was. I'm like, that's not proper English. But anyway, not the way to go about things. This is what she wrote. Stephen Twitch Boss was loved by so many, and my heart is broken. And now things have been unfolding, and this just feels cruel and wrong on so many levels. Thank you, Courtney, for speaking up and giving me the courage to echo that I do that I do not support this. Okay, so where am I? Then it said, Twitch, you are still a light to so many, and we love and miss you dearly. And then one of Steven's cousins, Darielle, basically been going and throwing lots of shade at Allison online, following her interview with People. And this is what she wrote on Twitter. She said, yeah, IDGAF about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and his actual family, including sign an NDA just to even attend the funeral. This is what she wrote in one post alongside the post about the people interviewed. She's been trying to tarnish his legacy and refuse to let Boss family see the children, only to exploit and lie on my cousin. Hell no. And say, I'm so tired of keeping my effing mouth shut, bro. You did your family so MF dirty, she added on another message post. So she's been running around here with this fake narrative, trying to act like that she's so innocent. Girl, you are not Britney Spears, where you out here acting like you innocent and stuff in situations. But I think it was another article too. Oh yeah. So then we had Carla Life Coach said this. She said, we all came here supporting you because we loved him. You get that, right? It was our way to show him that we had his back after he was gone. It's our way of letting him know his gift to us was so great that we would now share our love for him with you so you could heal. I have rooted for you and the kids since Twitch's passing. I have sent you love. I've prayed for you, sobbed for you, cheered for you, but this is betrayal. This is very disappointing and disheartening. You are not protecting or helping anyone, no matter how many times you say it to yourself. This is betrayal. So a lot of people feel like she is a traitor to the situation, and she's using this as an opportunity to sell books. And no shade, sis, but I think your book about being successful is Melania Trump's. Nobody cares. So you may have wasted a lot of trees and a lot of, on this situation. And then what is it? The events, girl, I hope you didn't spend it all because you might have to get that back. So I should point this out. Now, Allison has defended herself from her late husband's friends, family, and fans. She wrote that her only intention in writing her book was to share my own story as well as part of my life with Stephen to help other people. She said, just like you, I never really knew what happened. And even as I'm trying to put the pieces together, I will never really know. Adding her intention is to celebrate the love and life that she shared with him and their 3 beautiful children. She also said that she hoped the story will help others catch some red flags that I missed before it was too late. And even said that all the proceeds from the book is going to a mental health organization she started in her late husband's honor, Move with Kindness. Now, it kind of made me wonder, because, a lot of y'all been starting these organizations and then be cooking them books and be taking money off the top and be fattening your own pockets instead of having it go where it need to go. So I'm going to be side-eyeing the fact that you say that that money is going into an organization that you and your husband created. And I also don't understand that as long as she's been married to that man, how was it that you missed all the red flags and that he never felt the need to come and talk to you about stuff that was transpiring? So now, speaking of Twitch's mama, because we did say that we was going to talk about her, she's even weighed in on the situation. And she's slamming the misleading and hurtful claims that she has made towards, Allison's made towards her son. She said the following. I think I have that post. Hold on. Could you see his mother there on the left? So the following, she said, our family is absolutely appalled by the misleading and hurtful claims made about my son, Stephen Boss. The recent publications spreading untruths about Stephen have crossed every line of decency. As his mother, I will not let these accusations go unanswered. We will not stand by while his name and legacy are tarnished. He doesn't deserve this, and the kids don't deserve this. For the last 2 years, I have remained quiet and away from the public eye to protect my family. My primary focus has been on healing and attempting to remain connected to my grandchildren. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved, why did I turn into a Southern black woman when I said that? Hold on. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved Stephen, I realized I could not stay silent any longer. Our family will ensure his name and memory are protected, and we're committed to defending his honor. And this is from Connie Boss Alexander. So I'm with her, sis. Like I said before, I'm here for you to do what you need to do to heal or whatever the case is. However, I do feel like it's something the milk ain't clean with this situation. And then on top of that, where it's like you got people signing NDAs to attend your husband's funeral, so you don't want anybody spilling any kind of tea about what transpired in what's transpiring in the family and behind the scenes. But you feel that you have the right to go and write a book and go through his things and spill his personal stuff without even confiding in his mother or the family and being like, okay, I'm writing this book. What do you think? I mean, I know some people will probably be like, you don't need permission from these other people to determine what you need to do with your life. But you have to realize that is somebody's son. And for you to be out here knowing things about about her child that she's not even privy to, and you're putting this in a book to sell, it ain't sitting right with me. So shout out to the family on Twitch and girl, Allison. You know, what you put out here in this universe, you the one that got to live with the consequences. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story and the latest of Twitch's family is slamming her over Allison over this book and the allegations and spilling his personal business about the drugs and if it's rooted in some childhood trauma and he was self-medicating because he didn't go to a therapist and get all the help and he was Twitch was basically like with Beyonce and Sasha Fierce that Twitch was the persona that he got to be the extrovert, he got to be this larger than life character, and after a while that social battery burns out, and then it's like when you go home and you close the blinds and you're no longer Mr. Twitch and performing and giving everybody the love and the energy and making sure everybody else is okay, but you're not making sure yourself is okay because you're presenting this strong side of yourself, but people are not realizing that you're feeling weak and you're dying inside, then what are you going to do? So, and I just don't understand how she was just so blindly missed all these signs being married to this man, because I would think at some point you kind of would know that something is going on with your husband and you should have been doing whatever you could as his other half to try to get him and the help or whatever the case was, or really ask him, okay, what's going on? What can I do to help? Like, if you're partners, for better or for worse, you should have been up in there doing what needs to be done as a wife. Clearly you wasn't. Something else was going on. Maybe you was too selfish and thinking about your own damn career and you wasn't really there for Twitch. Maybe being with Twitch was an opportunity for her. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. According to People, Blake was forced into the industry to continue her family's last name because her sister Robin Lively, she didn't have a choice. Well, you know what? It was funny because I was watching this video earlier about child stars who don't make it out alive, meaning like they're a mess or whatever the case was. Like when you see like the stuff with Michael Jackson, Macaulay Culkin, Drew Barrymore. Somebody tried to say Drew Barrymore never had no issues growing up. I said, have you not been paying attention? Or you must be from a generation that wasn't really watching Drew Barrymore on TV. Because Drew Barrymore was in the clubs when she was like 8 years old getting lit. So what are y'all talking about? It was like, yeah, she went through some things, as well as Michael Jackson with his messed up childhood, and you had Macaulay Culkin and things his father was doing to him, and pushing him and trying to control him throughout his career and all that other stuff. And to me, it seemed like Kieran got a good head on his shoulders, but for the most part, when you look at Blake or whatever, yeah, you get a lot of those showbiz parents that couldn't hack it, so they push their kids into the career. And then you see why they end up fucked up. Because on top of that, it's like their kids are not understanding like right from wrong, because you have, when you're doing good and you're making these people a lot of money, they roll out the red carpet, they give you whatever you want. And then it's like when the kid is the breadwinner and they're making more money than you, then you see why they're not going to listen to the parent. Like you see Britney Spears and all what she's went through. So it's like when you don't have a good foundation behind you, first of all, you need parents that don't give a good goddamn about this business. Thank God I had the parents I had, because when I was pursuing acting and I was going to auditions and stuff as a kid and doing other stuff, my mother and my father had no interest in wanting to be in the spotlight and stuff. So that worked in my favor. Selena Gomez got caught lying about donating. Well, you got a lot of people allegedly out here donating money. She better not be out here trying to tarnish her legacy. They said Jamie Lee Curtis donated $1 million too. But look, they're gonna be coming for y'all. The funny thing is, why haven't people like Elon Musk and all these donated the money? They got all this money. Jeff Bezos, all y'all got all this money. Y'all could be doing what y'all got to be doing to influence and help the country evolve and thrive, since y'all got all this money. But no, y'all rather just hoard it amongst yourselves and use our government to continue to like get your little tax cuts and all that other mess. The organization says the links they're sharing is to their personal bank accounts, not to donations, because we aren't getting donations to aid relief. What are you talking about? We talking about the fire? We talking about Twitch? Because you said like the links that they're sharing is to their personal bank account. So people are donating money to help rich people who lost their homes. I was like, look, y'all got enough money. You could build another house or move somewhere else. Why am I having to donate money to rich folks? When push comes to shove, y'all don't be donating money to us regular people. Fact that she's dating a CEO and has moved on. Well, that's another thing that it was talking about too. The fact that she moved on rather quickly. But she gotta get with somebody that got some money. Cause what else Allison doing? I think you meant Blake's dad acted for 50 years before passing. Oh, okay. There's pictures of Drew when she was 8 or 9. I remember. I remember seeing those pictures of her in Studio 54. So I don't know what the hell they was talking. What these people was talking about. I was like, Drew Barrymore was full on an addict, an alcoholic when she was a kid. She'll even tell you. The difference is she got her shit together. Her mom was a talent scout manager in Hollywood. So, and she was going to be given the role. So yeah, she has way more cachet. Her and Ryan Reynolds. And whereas Justin Baldoni is just a regular dude that came up in the acting world. He's done a couple of things, Jane the Virgin, all these other shows, and he's getting his bearings. So you're going to have like the big bully come in and try to take over your movie. They're not donating because it's China-fornia. What the hell? Who said that foolishness? Okay, so let's talk about Brooke Shields and her vagina. Look, I don't know how to transition that, but apparently, speaking of memoirs, Brooke Shields has a memoir coming out, and in said memoir, she said in her traumatic experience, because she told Us Weekly, that a medical professional gave her a vaginal rejuvenation procedure without her knowledge and consent. So, in a new interview with Us Weekly, the model actress detailed a story shared in her new memoir, Brooke Shields is Not Allowed to Get Old, Thoughts on Aging as a Woman, in which she revealed that she underwent an unwanted and unneeded, but she had to make sure to let y'all know her pussy is tight. She was like, I ain't need no vaginal rejuvenation procedure. Now, in a conversation with the outlet, Shields, who's now 59, she looks good, said it all went down in her 40s when her gynecologist questioned Shields about the length of her labia and it had ever caused discomfort. After determining that it had, the doctor told Shields a surgical reduction was possible. Of course, it's not covered by insurance because it's considered cosmetic, which is very interesting. The last time I did check, I did not want to be a porn star. This is what she quipped to us, sharing that she had heard about porn stars doing this for aesthetic reasons. Well, yeah, when you get a lot of that wear and tear, and child, you got more penises up in your cootie cat, and some of you queens out there that be getting your pussy situated. Shout out to Porfy, because I saw a video on Instagram, sidebar. He put it out there. He said he got to get surgery back there because a lot of times when and he be taking it well, but sometimes when y'all be back there and they be having these big ginormous meat popsicles like and y'all be doing that yardie style type pounding on the pussy, then it causes a lot of wear and tear. When sometimes y'all need to be put, they giving Botox injections in your booty hole and in the cootie cat. So sometimes you got to keep it right and tight. But in this situation, it looked like she was trying to, sometimes the one thing I hate about these cosmetic people, and I did say down the road, if I need it, I would get the Botox. But it seemed like in a lot of these situations, a lot of these doctors be trying to get a little extra something out of you. So they'll be like, yeah, you need this and you need it. And it's like, I don't need this. Y'all be out here recommending these unwanted procedures. So Shield decided to go through with the procedure, but was met with a shocking discovery during a post-op checkup with her male Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. Saying he informed me that he threw in a little bonus, she told us, explaining that aside from her reduction, which was the procedure she had consented to, she received a rejuvenation or vaginal tightening procedure. She said it felt like such an invasion, such a bizarre, like R word of some kind, she recalled. Remembering the doctor being legitimately proud about his work, Shields said he casually explained to her that he threw in a little twofer. Telling us she was dumbfounded by this revelation, she was taken aback. Nothing pointed towards this need to be tighter or smaller or firmer or younger, especially there, she said, noting that both she and the gynecologist were enraged. Now, while she's opening about her, I'm like, child, I am gagging over this. I'm like, they gave you the pussy of a 12-year-old. And she's like, I don't need my coochie that damn tight. Like, my husband need to get up. I don't know if she married, but I'm like, yeah, he got to get his penis in. And one thing I will say is somebody who likes to insert my meat in things, you know, during the homosexual rendezvous, I do not like having to shove my meat in nobody's stuff. You need to be a little loose. Let loose. I said let her loose. Shout out to Lucy LaDuca, who I saw was having a little beef with oh my God, the last season's winner from Drag Race. See, look, I can't remember that bitch name, but you gotta. I don't want it to be too. I'm not saying it need to be wider than the Holland Tunnel, but just need to be a little loose so that I can get up in there. I don't want to have to feel like my peen is gonna break. I had one dude that was into that wanted me to like literally. He was into me shoving it in, and I'm like, child, if I break my dick, I'm gonna knock you out. Anyway, let's get back to this. So they say while she's opening up about the traumatic experience now, Shields said she did not want to need this. She did not want or need this irreversible procedure, and did not want to talk about it after it happened either. Feeling both shame and anger, Shields said that she even kept it a secret from her husband, Chris Henchy, for the longest time. Well, he didn't notice a difference. Or is in this situation, is it like God just think, well, a pussy's a pussy? Like, like how some of us a hole's a hole, or a hole's a goal, or any hole is a goal. So they said Shields opted against taking any action following the incident, legal or otherwise. She said, I thought I don't want anybody else telling me what I have to do. Now, while in her book, Shields apologized to readers who may find this story TMI. She's hopeful that by sharing this intimate information, the world can begin to change the way women's health is talked about, saying, I'd be lying if I said I'm not embarrassed to share this very intimate information. But if we are to change the way we approach and talk about women's health, then we need to bring up these uncomfortable and very real issues. Shame is no longer an option. Well, look, you already know they're going to take an excerpt from this book, and she's probably going to be on every damn talk show, The View, and all of them talking about this. But I do agree with her on that. It's like, yeah, it is a case of TMI. I do agree with that part. But I do feel like that this is a conversation that needs to be had because, the it just seems to be like, especially in this country, especially when we talk about reproductive rights, excuse me, and how when a lot of that comes up in politics and people try to deny affirming care to, women in regards of, them thinking that Planned Parenthood is all about abortions and stuff when it's not. There's a lot of different sorts of healthcare that women get when they go to Planned Parenthood, that it just feels like there's a lack of education when it comes to women's bodies. And people need to understand, it's like, yeah, why are you giving me a vaginal rejuvenation when I'm in my 40s? Like, my pussy is right and tight. It don't need no extra situation done between me down there. And here you go trying to assert your stuff, probably because you want a little extra something, and that you gonna bill me. I wonder if he did bill her a little something extra, because if he said if he threw in a twofer, bitch, you better not have me pay for it, because ain't no way in hell I'm paying for something I didn't ask for. I will take this to my attorneys and your ass will get sued, because I was like, where on the paperwork did it say I wanted this work done? So I totally understand why she brought up what she brought up, and I'm not mad at her over bringing this up and talking about this, because I feel like, you know what, there needs to be, I feel like, especially in America, we really need to open up the conversation about sex and the anatomy and just about bodies, period. Because you'd be surprised how much people don't even know about, men and, women, how much men don't know about women's bodies and that sort of thing. I'm like, how you heterosexual, you stick your dick in a woman, but you don't know nothing about no coochie. You don't. But I'm a homosexual who has slept with women in the past, but knows about the women anatomy. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this? And, Brooke Shields stepping her pussy in this story. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I know I know that's gonna be a funny one. I'm gonna cut that one up just so people can have a cackle. Onyx says it's only really a handful of rich, famous people that lost their houses. Most people were just normal families outside of Hollywood Hills. Yeah, I agree with that. You want to know something? I really wish the news would show more of that. I remember when I was at work yesterday and I was in the break room and they had that on the TV and they were basically showing just like regular schmegular people. But the one thing I hate about mainstream media and stuff, y'all always want to focus on the Jamie Lee Curtises, the James Woods, the Adam Brodys, the Paris Hiltons. And it's like, they're everybody in those neighborhoods aren't famous. Everybody in those neighborhoods aren't celebrities. I even saw a video on Instagram and I posted it in my stories of this guy who is Mexican, I believe, who told about he stayed behind and he was able to save his house and a couple of his neighbors' houses because the fire was coming. And nobody's talking about this. I think it was on Here Wild with Kevin. I think he posted it on his page. But and now I'm sitting there like, oh, so y'all now you want to sit up here and talk about let's get rid of the migrants and we need to clear it out. And it's only the Aryan people that's up in Trump's administration that want all of this and them cult followers of his who are pushing for this. But it's like, this country was built off of colonization and slaves and immigrants and that sort of thing. So this is a melting pot. It's called the United States. Y'all do know what that means, right? Like we have a united plethora of people that live up in here. It's just not one nation, one race under God. It's one nation. So I do wish that they would focus on a lot more regular people instead of just rich people. So I watched Brooke's documentary on Hulu, Pretty Baby. Is that recent? Because I may have to. Oh, you saw Nympphia win. No, it was. Oh, I should have been more specific. Drag Race Canada. That's what it was talking about. It was the one who won last season. It said if you started singing "Let Loose" while we were doing the deed, that would be funny. Look, and I said to Lucy because I did tweet her. I was like, "Look, we remember Let Loose." That song still shuffles on my Apple Music, but I was like, I don't remember who the girl is that won last season of Drag Race. Shout out to Shauna. I'm guessing, yes, you are new because we haven't had a conversation during the live. So it makes me wonder what the doctor felt the need to add such an invasive and personal surgery without permission. Makes me wonder what else did he do. That's another, you know what? That's a good question because we've been hearing so many stories about doctors doing inappropriate things. But there was one, I don't know where I saw it, but there was one, I might have been on Instagram. Might have been the neighborhood talk or one of them, but there was a doctor that he was walking around his office butt naked and he was like pleasuring himself in front of one of the nurses and doing all kinds of stuff. So it kind of makes you wonder, it's like, you doing all of this and he's been disbarred. I don't know if he was in jail. Wait, do doctors get it dis? See, now I'm confusing my mixing my things up. Do doctors get disbarred or is that lawyers? So, he lost his license, I believe. He got in trouble over that because that footage wound up online. It's probably because there's cameras and stuff in your clinic. And how you doing stuff like that? These people, what they abusing their power. You said not shoving the Avalon, the Abashalom. And you said, oh, yes, I'm there. It says somebody teabag. No, we good on that. I would not want to be teabagging or doing anything with Diddy. He looked like his breath stank. But you said, furthermore, this has happened on plastic surgery before where doctors take liberties without permission. The worst is they make it seem like they did the woman a favor. Oh, yeah, because I've heard many stories about that in the past, but it was like, this is not the size I agreed on. All of a sudden, I'm waking up and I'm looking like, I'm 5'2", 125 pounds with the breast, like with Pam Anderson boobs. It's like, I didn't ask for this. I said, "Oh, I see. I'm not sure who that is." See, you can't remember either. It's like nobody could. We don't know who that. And the funny thing, watch Honest come up in here and say who it was. But I was like, don't nobody remember who won season 5 of Canada? I mean, I don't even know what season they in again. Nobody remembers the girl whoever won Canada's Drag Race. Quiet as is kept. That show is trash too. But I do watch it because whatever. But y'all ain't giving, not like the US one, which comes on in like an hour and 45 minutes. So I gotta hurry up and finish the show. But we'll be done before then. Windmill Diddy. Yeah, I'd rather windmill him than teabag him. Well, good to have you on the show. You know, we like the newbies over here who can come in live and the people who are discovering this mess of a show. Anyway, where we going now? Oh, let's talk about Brandy. So we did talk about her the other day, in passing, but I was like, I want to give her a proper story because it was like somebody had just sent it to me, and the funny thing is I wanted to break the news because whenever I do this show, I always have people who be like trying to send me stuff in the middle of things, and I'm like, I already know. I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't know, but y'all do get me sometimes where it's like I'm not familiar and know what's going on. But for the most part, I had this thing, so I was like, let me read it live on the show, but I wanted to give it a full proper thing so we could talk about it. So Brandy went over to People to reveal that she is publishing a memoir that's supposed to be coming out in the fall. So the memoir is not titled, but it will chart Brandy's life story from her early days growing up in Mississippi to her launch to stardom following her platinum debut album, Brandy, released when she was just 15. And child, don't I know it, because I remember buying that CD when it came out. Now, she would go on to star in the hit sitcom Moesha and later made history when she played the title character. She was the first Black Cinderella ever on TV. And remember, Whitney Houston was in that movie too. So that's another reason why I love that film. And also, let's not forget, see, a lot of people like to bring up Moesha and all this other stuff. I used to know Brandy from when she did Thea. Remember that show when that was on? That's what I used to watch. I used to watch Thea, even though that show I think lasted like a season. No shade, it wasn't that funny of a show, but Brandy stood out. And then I remember like when she first put out her album, I was like, oh yes, that girl from that show. And that's what made me invest in her because I watched her on that sitcom. You know, anytime there was a Black sitcom that showed up because of the way I was raised, of course, I went and I watched it because it was like you're seeing your people on TV. I was like, why we not going to the next picture? I like this picture though. I'm thinking that this is what the book cover looks like. I wonder if it is because that hair is laid. Now, they said Brandy's raw and inspiring memoir is a testament of hope, resilience, and the strength needed to make peace with the past. This is according to the statement. Now, in 2024, Brandy appeared in the A24 horror film The Front Room, which I heard was really bad, but I do want to see it. I think it's on HBO Max. I need to check that out. She also reprised her role as Cinderella in the Disney Plus film Descendants, The Rise of Red, and told people that doing so was a meaningful experience. I'm actually hoping she also reprises her role as Carla Wilson, and I know what you did last summer, but I don't think that's going to happen. But if it doesn't, bring her back for the sequel. If they bring Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. back. So she said, it's such an honor and such a blessing to be able to inspire people, to be able to have purpose that way, to be able to encourage young girls to dream big and to go after what you want. The Star New memoir also aims to inspire its readers, as Brandy tells people in a statement, saying that I am so excited to finally share my full story in book form. This memoir is the result of countless hours of reflection, work, and healing. I hope readers will find comfort and inspiration in these pages. So the memoir is supposed to come out on October 7th of this year through Hanover Square Press, and now if you want to pre-order it, you can do that. But you got to wait like what, 9 months for the book to get released, which is good because there's plenty of time. I'll definitely be reading this book. I had some people on my Facebook in the comments kind of showing trepidation, thinking like she's not going to be completely honest and stuff. Well, we won't know until the book comes out and I read it and see what's in there. But I do hope that she addresses a lot of things. The messiness of her damn brother, Ray J, her upbringing, coming up, like they said, in Mississippi, her pursuing her career as a musician and as an actor, the lying about she was married to that producer that she wound up having Sarai with. So her daughter, and all the situations that was going on through her career, the highs and the lows. So, and the fact of what she learned from those, because she's at that point in her life, in your 40s, that's like the decade of reflection, where it's like who you are, you have a sense of who you are, you haven't completely gotten to the IDGAF part of your life, but I mean, I heard you get there when you're in your 50s, which I'm looking forward to. But now when you're in your 40s, like you have a sense of self, you're still got those insecurities and stuff that you're trying to work through, but you kind of have a sense of who you are. Your 20s is always the decade when you get to mess up and you get to figure out who you are as a person. Your 30s is like you can mess up a little bit, but you have a sense of, and in so many ways, of who you are. But now you're working on locking down that career. locking down a relationship or locking on the relationship don't work, it's fine. As long as you got the career, you're good. And then you can worry about having a kid and all the other stuff. Or a lot of times people want to put that in their 30s. But in your 40s, that's the time it's like, okay, the career is great. The relationship is great. I've got all the things I need. Now it's a time to reflect and prioritize and all those other things. And it seems like that's what Brandy is with her career right now. And I'm actually looking forward to this book. I mean, I would like more music from Brandy. I'm sure we'll probably get that. But I'm excited for this. So I say this to you all. What do you think of this reveal that Brandy's coming out with a memoir later on this year? Whatever, are you here for it? You're not here for it? Do you rather a new album instead of a book? I'm nosy, so I want to know what she's gonna put in there. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. It's a windmill. Well, you want me to fight Ray J? I was like, why would I fight him? First of all, he gonna run to the car to get that backpack. He gonna run to the car and get that backpack, not know what the hell's in it, because he always trying to run to the car to get his backpack for some reason. I don't know why, but he does. But I'm like, okay, whatever's in the backpack, can you pull it out? Stop trying to always run around cars and shit with that. Onyx says, I'm here for Brandy's memoir. I don't want a new album because that Christmas album was a mess. I think everybody just leave the Christmas thing alone. Just let Mariah Carey be the queen of Christmas. Because and if you're not going to give us something different, then don't, please. Maybe I'm saying this because I'm not really like Christmas is like my least favorite holiday. I can care less about Christmas, although I appreciated the gifts that I got this year. I got money. I got a PlayStation 5. I got a bunch of stuff. So I wasn't that upset over my Christmas this year. So, but overall, Christmas is not my favorite holiday. Halloween is actually one of my favorite times of the year. So, oh yeah, I want to know about her beef with Monica and what really transpired between them, because there's always story they said that Monica smacked her or whatever. Like, I want to know all the tea behind the scenes of that. And then they're talking about, the note Whitney gave Brandy. Is that something that she should reveal? To me, I feel like that's personal. Like, we shouldn't have known what tWitch about his stuff in his journal. We shouldn't have known that. So I feel like the note that Whitney gave Brandy, I don't think we should know what's in it unless she revealed what was in it. But then, okay, if she's already revealed stuff, then it's like, okay, we can learn it. But other than that, I was like, yeah, she should keep that to herself. Okay, so let's see. How many more topics do we have left? Okay, so we have 4 more topics left to the end of the show. So if you have not already, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also smash the notification bell to help with the algorithm and all that other stuff. So if you don't have it within you at the moment to donate money, whatever the case is, and I appreciate the super stickers and the super chats, but it doesn't cost to hit the like button and the subscribe and the notification bell, so that way you know when we go live. And it also helps with the algorithm, because I have seen, like, in the past couple of weeks, like in the beginning of 2025, this channel has pretty much blown up, and I appreciate all of it. So let's keep it going with the like and the subscribe and the notification and all the other stuff. So please and thank you. Okay, so where we going now? We're going to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis, who came out here and stuck her damn foot in her freaking mouth. And this is why a lot of people don't really get behind some of the things that people like Jamie Lee Curtis or feel no ways tired when it comes to these celebrities when things happen to them, because they feel like that y'all just don't read the room, basically. So fans are criticizing Jamie Lee Curtis after she compared the LA wildfires to the war-torn Gaza. So the Oscar-winning actress, who's 66, who donated $1 million to relief efforts after the Pacific Palisades fires, was among the many celebrities forced to evacuate as the fires continue to destroy properties. Now, on Thursday, Curtis made the statement during a Q&A for The Last Showgirl, where she appeared alongside her co-star Pamela Anderson. The entire hold on. Say that 10 times fast. Let's start over again. Her quote is this: "The entire Pacific Palisades looks like, unfortunately, Gaza or one of these war-torn countries where awful things have happened." Now, I've also heard, because I don't know who it was. I think it was Cleveland that was in here. One of y'all commented in the comments before we even got to this story, said that Joe Biden, soon to be the ex-president in the next 2 weeks, basically came out and said the same thing, and people, dragged him for that. Well, guess what? Of course, people ate her up in the damn comments for making that comparison. One critic posted, comparing wildfires to war zones feel off. It minimizes the devastation unique to each. As another added, it's kind of unsettling. Words matter, especially from someone with her platform. A third wrote, don't compare natural disaster to a genocide. Now, others weren't as calm, with one commenter saying two things that have nothing to do with each other. Pack it up, great grandma. Now, why y'all always got to go there with an ageist comment? I get that y'all pissed off her using the analogy, but with the grandma, great grandma stuff, like, y'all are so tired with that. Y'all better hope to get to Jamie Lee age. That's the only thing I'll defend her on. But all of this other stuff is like, yes, sis, you shouldn't have said that. And you should have known. I guess maybe she didn't think that somebody was going to have a phone up and recording and it was going to go viral. But you should know that wherever you go in a public situation and you got a mic in your hand, somebody's holding up a phone and recording what you're saying. However, some fans were more forgiving, with one saying, I respect Jamie Lee Curtis, but that comparison doesn't make any sense. Now, excuse me, it seemed like her attempt to draw attention to the devastation may have missed the mark. The backlash comes after the Halloween star revealed that she is donating $1 million toward LA fire relief efforts after fighting back tears over the destruction of Pacific Palisades. They said the actress took the IG on Thursday to announce her donation and revealed that she has been in contact with LA Governor Gavin Newsom to discover where the funds would be best used. Oh Lord, here we go. I was like, see, now that's another thing. Celebrity interference, and y'all sitting up in here trying to tell people where they should put the money. I feel like y'all need to stand down with that, or where you feel like it should be best used. Oh yeah, come help the rich cronies and stuff out. The one thing that irritated, because this is another thing that irritated me too. A friend of mine sent me a video in our group chat, and it was on my phone, so I can't pull it up here. But this Karen had the absolute nerve to run around to the car where Gavin Newsom was like, oh, well, you need to call up the president and tell him, oh, what are you going to do about the wildfire? Like, people are losing their homes, da, da, da. He's like, I'm on the phone with President Biden. Like, I've been sending him text messages. I'm waiting to hear him back. And then she's like, well, yeah, what are you going to do? Because I need to hear you have a conversation with him. Excuse me, ma'am, you are not in politics. Why do you feel like I need to sit here right next to you for you to hear my personal conversation with the president of the United States, just so you will be rest assured that your neighborhood gets the help that it needs? There's a lot of people that are in far worse situations, but because it's Pacific Palisades and what it endures, all of a sudden y'all feel like because we're rich and we have money that is the top of the food chain. See, now this is giving me a sense of classism when it comes to this. And I get like not all celebrities live in the Pacific Palisades, but trust and believe, a lot of people with coins live in the Pacific Palisades. So this whole thing, I'm like, yeah, the rich people help us before you help all these other people. That rubs me the wrong way. But in regards to this, like, Jamie, girl, you are off your rocker with this comment, because I had to write something earlier, which reminded me of where you sit up in here talking about this whole Gaza situation. So I had written something where it was like, I find it quite hilarious that, when you're talking about with Donald Trump and stuff, things are going to make it worse. So what you need to realize, this whole situation in Gaza, while the wildfires may have been arson, or it could be Mother Nature and the lack of water, rain, whatever the case is, while that is all of what that is, what's happening in Gaza is not, it was put upon by Israel, where you had people dropping bombs and stuff over there. Say, okay, we could sit up here and say, oh, it happened because of the whole October 6th situation, where was the kidnapping of the hostages, which I don't know if a lot of you know this, but there have been many of deals put on the table for Netanyahu to get those hostages back. He don't give a damn about those hostages. There have been many deals. The media is not talking about it. The reality is he doesn't want them back, because if they were to get back, then he's got to stop the famine. He's got to stop the disease that's happening in Gaza. He's got to stop the bombing. He's got to stop the killing of so many men, women, and children. He's got to stop with the concentration camps where they're raping men with metal rods. He's got to stop all the things that he's doing with his military is doing to those people over there. The fact of the matter was, since October of last year, they've stopped food and aid getting into Gaza. So when you're trying to compare things to those things that's going over there, no, ma'am, that is the wrong situation, the wrong comparison. If you're not going to understand what's really happening over in Gaza versus America with a fire, where y'all have enough money where you can go and move somewhere else. Y'all understand you lost your home, and some people lost their homeowners. That the homeowners insurance was stopped before the fires happened, which is what I heard happened to James Woods. But then I was like, that's coming for that ass, because he was sitting there talking about that all of the people over in Gaza need to be taken out. Like, he wants death upon all of them. This is a tweet I actually saw coming from him. So when you made transphobic, homophobic, anti-Palestinian rhetoric on social media and in other public places, I don't feel no way tired about James Woods losing his damn house. But I do, and don't get me wrong, I feel for people who have lost their homes, but I just feel like this was this was a bad analogy. This was not good for her to go and use this as, a way to kind of compare the situation. So yeah, she also, and I think also when she first came out, she was like fighting back tears when she was talking about the whole fire that happened. She said that was on Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon ain't gonna push back on a lot of that stuff that's happening over there. So I still want to see The Last Showgirl, and I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I like Pamela Anderson, and I heard that what I'm hearing is Jamie Lee Curtis steals the show in the film. Like, Pamela Anderson, they're saying is great and all, but Jamie Lee Curtis is basically the standout. And nobody's taking away the fact that she's an amazing actress. But yeah, I just feel like this is a case of, girl, you need to read the room before you go off and start making the type of comparisons that you made. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Have you heard this stuff about with Jamie Lee Curtis, when she is comparing the LA fires to a war-torn Gaza and the stuff that was going on, and how Netanyahu was a warmonger, and how he's more or less interested in ownership and colonization, and if he can use this as a way to wipe out all the Palestinians so he can get his hands on their damn land, then so be it. I don't think that is a great analogy. I think maybe you talking about because of the overall aftermath of how it looks, but for the most part, no, that was not a good comparison. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, wait, what was that? Robert says the vocal Bible debate. She needs to say that was something her peers gave her in the music industry. Not my fault. Your artist and get to. And that look. What is Mariah known as? The Voice, or was that Whitney? I think Whitney was The Voice. Mariah, I would call her the elusive chanteuse. That's what she named herself when she came out with that album. And Brandy is the vocal Bible. That was a name that her fans had gave her, and that is something that a lot of people have run with. And so a lot of people will learn how to do like the stacking and the runs and stuff. Like, Brandy was somebody that popularized it. We're not saying she's the one that created it, but she's the one that popularized it. And the one that popularized it usually gets all the accolades. So we're not going to take that away from her. So Whitney, Mariah, Brandy, she's up there as one of the greats vocally. That's like Britney working with Michael and Madonna. Then when will your fave? Wait, what? That's like Britney working with Michael and Madonna. Wait, what? I'm trying to understand the comparison. I'm like, is there more to the situation? You need to resend that. Listen, she deserved that, grandma. And so, is she? I'm not sure, because I know one of her children are trans. That's the only thing I know about Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if she's a grandma. She might be. I mean, at her age, I would think she would be, right? But I agree the comparison is wrong and comes from privilege, but her intention wasn't to be offensive. People think this because, fortunately for them, they never experienced a genocide or war. Yeah, I don't think it was that offensive. I just feel like you said, that it was a bad comparison. But then, of course, I had to point out as to the why it's a bad comparison. And it does come from a place of like, yeah, woman, you're from a place of privilege. And I think that's always people's angle when they want to come after, like, especially the overall attitude that I've been seeing online about, oh, well, these celebrities lost their homes and the negative connotation that has come from that. Like, people just gloating over the fact that a lot of these rich people have lost their homes. And I even saw recently Mandy Moore was getting dragged because she started like a fundraiser or something or another to raise money for, like, I think her family who lost their home or something or another. And, you know, people look at it as it's the same thing that happened with Todrick Hall when he came up with that GoFundMe or whatever for his family, that people think just because you're in the public eye and you're a celebrity that you got it, that you have all this money just sitting around like you're Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos rich. And it's like, not all these, a lot of these celebrities, trust me, when I tell you that a lot of these celebrities are faking the funk and they're not as rich as they out here claiming, a lot of them aren't. And many of the celebrities have come out and and revealed this, that they're not as rich as, you know, it's been reported, especially when they were going up doing these writer strikes and actor strikes and stuff. We started to learn, you know, people started to learn the real tea of what was going on behind the scenes, that a lot of these celebrities aren't as rich as they've been out here claiming to be. Did she donate $1 million to help with aid for God? Well, that's a good question too. And I had people in my comments who made this comment because I had said something about, I don't remember what it was. It might have been something to do with this or something or another. But people was like, because it was the James Woods thing that I posted. And they were sitting there saying that, oh, well, do you feel this way about Billy Crystal and other people who have pretty much come out and made negative comments about, you know, who have been pro-Israel? And I'm like, I don't sit up here and follow every celebrity, but if they are pro-Israel in certain situations and have said death to those people at the expense of Israel getting land that they feel like is owed to them, then yes, I have a problem with people like that. But we're not going to sit up here and paint all Jewish people as like full-on genocidal maniacs, or because then they're all not. There are a lot of Jewish people who are against what Netanyahu's doing, but nobody wants to talk about that. You know, they like this whole divide and conquer, and the media plays a lot into that because there's money to be made. Which is why I just don't like the fact where we have a lot of media that likes to normalize a lot of what Trump's doing. CNN's doing that. Germany and Austria is asking the European Union to consider a lawsuit with Twitter and Meta to enforce fact checkers or face a permanent ban. Well, as they should, because, you know, Fuckenberg's an idiot. Whitney was the voice. Mariah is the not the throat. See, and in Who's Kim Petras, the throat goat? And it's that Brandy and her Never Say Never album is the vocal Bible. Yes, and I love the album because that's like so many vocal experimentations she did on that record. I just live for that record. You know, she always came out with her best work with Rodney Jerkins, and they said her Never Say Never album is the vocal Bible. I remember T.S. Madison infamously disagrees, calling Brandy the vocal child. I just be loving when her and Craig be getting into their whole debates about the singing and all this stuff. It just be a cackle when they be up there, and how Craig be up there reading some of them singers, and Maddie gets mad. It's always hilarious watching them when they go at it. Yeah, I figured as much. She doesn't have grandchildren because I was like, I don't think she does. Only thing I've been hearing a lot about with Jamie Lee Curtis is she has a trans child. Other than that, I don't think she doesn't have grandkids. Even Germany said Google was founded by Supreme Court. It can censor conservatives and Republican because it's a private company and it's not the government. I'm just so over all this BS. But anyway. Okay, so let's get into this. Travis Kelce and his girl. This could be a quick one. So apparently, I did not know this, and there's another reality show I got to check out. There's a lot of good shows that's coming out. Like I said, I didn't even get a chance to watch The Traitors yet. I did watch Worst Cooks in America because they got a lot of interesting celebrities on that one. Like they got Frankie Grande's on there, Adam Rippon, New Yorkers on there, Wes from Wes, both of them was from House of Villains. Wes is on there from the Challenge. And, well, I think he retired from the Challenge, but he's doing other reality shows. He was just on House of Villains with New York, and now they on they're on Worst Cooks in America, which is actually a cackle. So if y'all haven't seen that, definitely check out the Celebrity Edition. And now this show I gotta watch that she's on, because I'm like, I didn't know that. Well, I heard Denise Richards on there. She said she ruptured both her breast implants doing a jump. I'm like, girl, but that's what happened when y'all putting that plastic in your body. But Travis Kelce's ex, Kayla Nicole, is on this show called Special Forces World's Toughest Test. Because I know that show, because last season they had what the hell's his name? From Tom from oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. From Vanderpump Rules, Sandoval. They had him on there last season along with JoJo Siwa. So that's why I'm familiar with that show. But they got the new seasons out. And she's basically opening up about the shit she receives from trolls over, the Kansas City tight ends relationship with mega superstar Taylor Swift. And she said, going through a public breakup, just to be frank, it's been overwhelming. The sports reporter said in a confessional in Wednesday's episode of Special Forces World's Toughest Test. So I didn't know what her profession was. Apparently, she's a sports reporter. She said, I'd never experienced anything like that, she shared, admitting that she has been reduced to a headline to something so small as someone's ex-girlfriend. Now, Nicole, 33, told her castmates on the Fox show that she gets a lot of ish because Kelce is dating such a mega superstar. Now, despite the drama, the Tribe Therapy founder said that she liked Swift and thinks is very talented. The model, who dated Kelce on and off from 2017 to 2022, has been dealing with online hate ever since the NFL star, 35, went public with the Bad Blood singer, also 35, in September of 2023. Now, 1 year later, Nicole can hit back at a Swiftie who attacked her appearance by posting unfiltered photos of her. He said, pretty well, the troll sarcastically wrote via Twitter in September 2024. Oh, very pretty. The troll sarcastically wrote on Twitter in September 2024, adding a puking emoji. Nicole tweeted the post, writing, "You will never make me hate me. Hang it up, Bookie." Well, this kind of makes me wonder, what was the race of the person that posted it? Probably a white girl, because I don't know any black girls, and it might be a rare of you that are a Swiftie. And here's the thing, this girl is not ugly, so I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. She's a pretty girl, even without makeup on, and they probably got some nude makeup and stuff away, because they're not going to have y'all go completely without makeup. Although I did see some stills of Denise Richards, Sam's makeup doing his show, and it's like, maybe y'all aren't using makeup. So in regards to this whole situation, oh, yeah. So let me read this and then we'll get to my overall thoughts. So she said, Nicole previously issued an open letter to Black women specifically, in which she fought back against the backlash and embarrassment she had dealt with amid her ex's highly publicized romance, saying, preserve your heart even when they try to quantify your character and test your boundaries. You do not have to respond because there is power in your silence. And I agree with that. A lot of these Swifties want to go in and get you mad, and they want to rile you up and ruffle your feathers and get you to say some things that you don't want to say. But here's the thing. Her relationship with Travis at the time was their relationship. If he had moved on and gotten with Tay Tay and it was a swift transition and they was doing whatever it is that they was doing, then this ain't got nothing to do with y'all. I don't know. Why do you feel the need to want to jump into a conversation that has nothing to do with you? Or you feel like because you love Taylor Swift that you're doing her a favor by jumping into these, the ex-girlfriend of her current man's page and bullying and harassing. I don't understand the logic behind that. If Travis and Taylor are happy, that should be all that matters. They're winning at the end of the day. Kayla is off doing her own thing, living her own life, doing her own job, moving on from her previous relationship. But I don't know, maybe because Kayla has said some things in the past that the Swifties are upset about, they feel like they need to go in on her. But she has a right to express how she feels of whatever her relationship is, especially if she's a public figure. You're a model and you're a sports, commentator, whatever the case was, or you're a sports reporter. Why doesn't she have the right to say what she want to say? Because she's saying something that may affect your favorite artist, somebody y'all don't know in real life. So this made me interested in, I like when people you have whatever opportunity they have to be able to speak on whatever they want to speak on. without worrying about what other people think. And like I said, she has a right to say what she want to say about a situation she was privy to and she was into, while y'all sit on the sidelines tweeting and being mad. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, it's those damn Swifties. I don't know. It's like these crazy stand bases. Like the way y'all be going in sometimes, I just be scratching my damn head and shaking it. Okay, now let's get into some TMI homosexual news. And let's talk about Andy Cohen apparently having a sex tape out here in these damn streets. So yeah, Andy Cohen and his ex, John Hill, made a sex tape when they were together. But guess what? Y'all ain't gonna see it. Now, I was like, who's John Hill? I remember who John Hill is because John Hill has another podcast. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know he does like a podcast where he interviews adult performers and that sort of thing. It's a co-host situation because I remember he did his finale along with his co-host at my friend Daniel Nardicio's spot in New York. And so I remember they did something there. And then they had Melissa Gorga on there and the finale as a guest co-host or something or another. So that was probably like maybe 2 years ago. So that's where I know John Hill from. So the 56-year-old Bravo boss who recently likened John Hamm to an A-list star, as in Nicole Kidman, because people don't know about the backstory on that. He was compared to Nicole Kidman because they said like he's having this sort of resurgence in his career and he's basically everywhere as far as an actor goes. But I'm like, isn't that what we want? Because I've always been a John Hamm fan. But he also went on to say this. He revealed that he has a sex tape with his theater actor ex, John Hill. And they filmed this about 20 some odd years ago, back in 2003. So John, who's 46, and it's funny, he's 10 years younger than Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen is 56 and John is 46. Who was also Andy's co-host on Sirius XM's radio show, Radio Andy, appeared on Watch What Happens Live on Tuesday. He was on the show to do a segment listing the 5 things Andy would do should do in 2025 as guest Raquel Shrevemont and Erica Jane sat nearby. Well, I don't know who Raquel is, nor do I care, but of course I know Erica Jane because of the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now it came to number 3, where John shocked everyone when he said, "Release our sex tape" from 2003. Now Andy, Raquel, and Erica belted out a laugh before Erica quit. Wait, I kind of want to see it. Is it fun? Now, both guests pestered Andy about being able to watch the sex tape as Andy got uncharacteristically bashful. The host said, "You know what? I think there is one, but the format, it's on some janky format." His ex, John, said, "It's bad." Andy maintained that the video format would make viewing the sex tape impossible as he wouldn't be able to transfer it. The host added, "No, I'm glad. We probably can't even transfer it." Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica responded, "Yes, we can." And yeah, there are ways you can go around to transpire anything that got to do with a sex thing. Because if it's on a cassette, on a VHS, there are ways that you can transcribe VHS footage to like you can put it on a computer and all that other stuff. There have been many people that have been able to do that. So I don't know if and don't get nobody on no idea, because somebody might go up in there and break into your house and try to look for that damn footage. So I don't know if this is something that you should have put out here in these streets, sir. But so for those of you not familiar, Andy and John dated for 3 years in the early 2000s when John was still part of the original cast of Hairspray. Now, during an older episode of Watch What Happens Live, Andy explained that the two are in different places in our lives. And Hill also made similar comments back in 2010 when he appeared on Hot Takes and Deep Dives podcast. Now, he said it was heartbreaking and super sad, but like any breakup, it was time to break up. They also explained that he said at the time he was pushing 30 and was ready for a career change, which brought him back to LA. And Andy was media and all other stuff, so he stayed in New York. So, of course, because they were in 2 different places in their lives, and also they lived John was ready to go, I guess, pursue other endeavors. So he went over on the West Coast and Andy was going to be on the East Coast because, that's where all the media and stuff is. Media mostly thrives over on the East Coast, which is one of the reasons also why I came back to New York, because I think that in my heart of hearts, I don't want to do the whole acting, pursuing situation. Now, if that opportunity presents itself, then I will be open to it. But I realize I work better in the media space. So being in New York, it allows me to be closer to the whole media situation versus being in LA, which is all about studios and Hollywood and film and television and all that stuff. So they also said we were great together and we always made each other laugh, but we grow apart in terms of boyfriendness. We had a friendship, we had a love, but the boyfriend part was kind of fading. And I could understand that the relationship was amicable and all other stuff, but child, I could imagine is Andy as insufferable as a boyfriend as he is on on TV? Because sometimes he be working my damn root canal nerve when it comes down to like the way he be trying to OD with the personality and trying to be like this funny person. It's like, sir, you're not a comedian. Just be yourself. But you just be given the fake pomp and circumstance type of situation. He irritates my spirit when I'm watching him on when I'm seeing clips, because I don't watch it. But the clips and stuff that he does on New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper. So there's that. But I'm like, yeah, this was a bit of TMI, but you want to know something? I ain't going to hold you. But because I'm nosy, I kind of do want to see that sex tape. And look, I know people that Andy slept with, friends of mine, who been in situations with Mr. Cohen. And I told y'all that story. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Would y'all like to see Andy Cohen sex tape? And look, John is a good looking man. So I can see why he and Andy was getting together, but I'm like, child, you had to put that tea out there. Now everybody now everybody's gonna be wanting to see that sex tape. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I was like, Andy, you are insufferable, but in a way, because I'm nosy, I low-key do want to see it. Look, if I had to sit through Kim Kardashians and freaking Paris Hilton's, then and many of the others that I've seen over the years, I don't mind seeing his sex tape. All right, so let's move on to our final topic, and that is RuPaul has broken his silence yet again. Now, he broke his silence before in the form of going on social media where he paid tribute to the Vivian with a heartfelt Instagram post. Then he got on social media again to go in on Tyra Sanchez over some negative comments that she had made towards the Vivian. Huge debate about it on my social medias. Have at it. Let's keep the conversation going. But and then, he did, what was it? Tyra did respond, said something shady. Someone also said in the comments, and I don't know if this is true or not, that Tyra allegedly made some comments towards Ru, alluding to when I guess it was the period where she had slimmed down and lost a lot of weight. She would look a little, emaciated. That she was saying, was it the drug overdose or was it the AIDS? That's coming out of her mouth. That ain't coming out of mine. I don't make the rules. I just report it. So that's apparently what somebody has said in the comments. Like I said, I don't know if there's any truth to that. They said that she was still going on post the video that I posted. And I was sitting there like, if you said that's some nasty work on her part. And there's a special place in hell that Tyra ass could rot. So after all of that is said, UK DragCon is going on right now. Well, I don't know. I don't know the time difference of how it is in the UK. If my UK people's in the comments right now, definitely let me know what the time difference from being on the East Coast, because right now it is 6:55 on the East Coast in the United States of New York. And then I don't know what the time difference is from there over in the UK, but I'm assuming the way things are now, DragCon has got to be done. So, or it could be Saturday. I don't know. But, Friday and Saturday is when they're going to be doing it. And Ru has broken his silence this time in public over the paying of the tribute to the Vivian. So, the DragCon UK is taking place at the XL London. And Ru paid tribute to the first winner of UK's version of the show. Now, I do have a clip, courtesy of Twitter. And I'm going to show y'all her paying tribute to the Vivian. And then we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
To focus on love. And we're going to remember our dear the Vivian with love and life. And that's what she was all about. She would love for you to live your lives and to be free and to have a lot of fun and to spread it around. Isn't that right? I want to focus on love. And you're going to remember our dear the Vivian with love and life and because that's what she was all about. She would love for you to live your lives and to be free and to have a lot of fun and to spread it around. Isn't that right?
Now, I don't know what happened. It sounded like it was low at one point, and then all of a sudden, it was loud. So, just in case, he said we want to focus on love and we're going to remember our dear the Vivian with love, life, and happiness because that's what she was all about. She would love for you to live your lives, to be free, to have a lot of fun, and to spread it around. So that was just me, just in case the sound went out and all this other stuff, because sometimes the audio be wanting to, depending on where you get your footage from, it wants to play. So organizers of the event have also set up a space for people to pay their respects. And that's one of them. So that's the wall where they pretty much have it. And there is a space where there's like tables and all this stuff. I will show y'all as we go through this. There is a carousel of photos that pretty much shows what it looks like. So they said, please be mindful that we all process and experience grief differently. And some people might not be ready to talk about the loss of someone important to them. This is what they wrote on Instagram. We're providing a memorial booth space on the pink carpet where all attendees can pay tribute to the Vivian, share condolences, and speak about it if they are ready. Now, volunteers who support charity Switchboard LGBTQ+ helpline will be present for anyone in need of someone to talk to. This is what they added. Now, RuPaul's latest tribute follows one he posted on Instagram earlier in the week. So yeah, there's a little table where they have all the other stuff and stuff there. And then you see that is Rue, Michelle Visage, and of course Raven, which I was like, why is Raven there? She ain't doing Rue's makeup. But then again, Raven is from the Drag Race, season 2. So she has every right to be there. And they also said, now with a broken heart, I joined the entire Drag Race universe in mourning the loss of the Vivian. He shared calling her an incredibly talented queen and a lovely human being. Now stars including Michelle Visage, Maya Jama, Rylan, Russell T. Davies, and Jinx Monsoon have also shared moving tributes to the Vivian this week with ITV show Dancing on Ice, which the drag star competed on in 2023, expected to pay tribute this week during the first show of its new series. So I just want to give a shout out to the Vivian. So glad that they were able to do something this nice so that way people don't have to bombard the other drag queens that's on the show who are there to sell their merch, to take fit pictures, to interact with the fans, to come in and basically bombard people with, their, or inadvertently bombard, because I'm sure like a lot of people don't mean to do it, but you don't want to overwhelm and bombard a lot of the queens with your own grievances, especially because you don't necessarily know what they're going through in their own mind in regards to the stuff that could be going on, how they are processing and mourning the death of the Vivian, because it was like, yeah, this is like something that just happened. I didn't even know about, I knew DragCon UK was coming up, but I wasn't really familiar with like when exactly it was supposed to happen. And it just so happened it coincided with it this week. So I was glad that they were quick enough to come up with a solution on wanting to deal with the situation and work it out and give people the safe space to be able to send love and all that other stuff. But I do wonder, like, this wall that they're writing on, I wonder what they'll do with it. Like me personally, what I would do is I would keep that wall as a part of the set for Drag Race UK. So the more season that comes up, we actually have that wall there, and it's somewhere. I don't know. Y'all can keep it on the set where we could see it, or you can have it as like in the dressing room, something. Y'all can just figure out what to do with that wall. But I just really hope that they keep that wall around and that they will always, pay tribute to the Vivian, because yeah, she was well loved. She is a class act. And there's that. Then we have one more photo. So yeah, this is all the carousel of photos that transpired from Drag Race UK. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more of like what transpired around that time. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to RuPaul showing love and then paying tribute to the Vivian at Drag Race UK? I'm sure there'll be more stories that'll come out as it all wraps up. And when that happens, I'll bring that to you on the next show that we do. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. The UK season 1 girls also got a gold rose in honor of the Viv. Oh, that's good because it was like, yeah, they were all on that show with them. So it's sort of like they're the ones who have, I feel like, have the most connection because they all came up on the show together. So it makes sense that they would do that. Now, all the others who have interacted and have encountered the Vivian over the years, yeah, you can have your special moments and all other stuff. But I feel like giving the entire cast the gold rose, I think that is the smart thing to do. I'm opening up more to Raven ever since I stopped liking. You know what? I had a lot of people in my comments talking about we get the idea of like Raven is winning and so many other stuff in so many other ways because her career is thriving and has thrived even though she didn't win. But they're saying like because of what's been going on with Tyra over the years that they need to take away the crown. I'm like, is this what we're going to do with everybody's thing? It is what it is. She won it fair and square. She won at the time that she won, but we can stop making her relevant. We could stop giving her a platform. But I understand. On the other hand, we have to talk about these things because it involves the whole drag race situation and her being classless in what she said. So we can't. So we have to bring these things up. But at the same time, it's sort of like, yeah, Raven, Jujubee, everybody feels like it should have been one of those two that should have won the crown instead of Tyra. Because quite frankly, even when I watch that show, every time I watch that season, I'm looking. But even before she even won, I was like, really? Like I was expected Tyra to go home early. That's why I cackled when it was like, what is it about one of your fellow queens that we need to know? And then Tyra goes, not Tyra, Tatiana. She was like, that Tyra's a complete bitch. Thank you. That scene is so damn iconic. So I definitely agree. But Chris, I think it would be cool if you did a Drag Race after show after the episodes finishes airing, like a Talking Dead or Watch What Happens Live. No one on YouTube has the immediate after show, but it's just an idea. You want to know something? I might start doing that. I know Maddie Rance does a breakdown of RuPaul's Drag Race, but that usually comes up the next day. I do think that there should be a special after show, but I would have to literally be watching the show as it's happening for that to go down. I may consider that in the future because I feel like sometimes I'll be wanting to do an after show and there may be some Fridays that I'm not going to be able to do it. But if the opportunity presents itself, yeah, that would be a good idea where it's like, yeah, we need a Drag Race after show after the show finishes. And I know they do one at Roscoe's where they have like the queens come in and they do the interviews and all that stuff. But the problem with that is, and this was pissing me off because I see what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get people to pay to watch that damn that Roscoe shit. So now, like the first episode that came out, they had Sasha Colby on there. Why was that video like a half an hour long? I was like, I know, y'all. So they heavily edited that shit down to 30 minutes. I was like, I'm not watching this shit. So they should put the wall behind the runway entrance where those beads, diamonds are. Yeah, they could do that. I was thinking like maybe backstage or something or another. And then every queen that comes on the show, kind of like, I forget who did that. There was somebody that, whenever you would go on their show, you would like sign the wall or whatever the case was. Y'all could do that. Just have every queen that comes on the show just like sign the wall and give something. But then again, it's like, the new queens that come on the show, they might not know the Vivian. So why would they write something on there? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, this is a wall we put up on here. It's got the spirit of the Vivian and we honor it. And I do agree that we should do that. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing that Drag Race after show after the episode finishes. And it was like, yeah, let's go live and let's do a Drag Race after show so we can talk about what happened. But then with me, I would probably feel like I got to rewatch the show more than once just so that way I get all my notes and catch things. But then again, if I'm recording, I could just always rewind it back and just watch certain scenes and then just write down my overall thoughts as I'm watching the show. And if I miss something, just run it back real quick. But anyway, all right, guys. So we are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will be back next week because, I'm not going to be here on tomorrow or Sunday. So I'll be back Monday with a brand new episode. If you have not already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will be putting timestamps into the show for those of you who will be coming on watching the replay. So that way you know where all the timestamps and stuff are, where you can fast forward to certain things that you want, segments that we talk about and all that good stuff. So thank you all for it being in the comments, those old and new, for those who've been with me from the beginning and those who have just discovered this channel. I love and appreciate y'all. And until next time, ciao, darlings.